Welcome to Special Stage, and for the last time in 2024, welcome to the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. This is it, it's the last round, it's the Hills Ford stages. It's what used to be known as the Three Shires Rally, and we are here for the fourth time in the foothills of the Malvern Hills. We are in the first two stages of the night. And as you can see, the spectators have joined us. They are out in force here in the Castle Morton Commons stage. Two stages, both just under 2 miles long, and we have a gloves-off fight here in the championship because a number of those titles, including the main one, the overall driver's title, have been sewn up. Callum Black, Jack Morton, making it 2 titles on the trot here in the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. Once again, runners-up, and remarkably so, a fight right until the end, just like last season. Neil Roskell, Di Roberts back inside that ND Civils Rally 2 Fiesta now. And I'll tell you what, as he's just joined us here in this first stage, just before the cars come through, as is becoming a little customary here on the Special Stage live stream, I'm going to grab the main man, James Williams, who's just going to have a very quick word with me. James,
nice to meet you,
you could have joined us here for the final round, couldn't you? He's just he's entertaining the fans here and giving out plenty of his orange sunglasses. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well. How are you?
Yeah, good. We spoke to you at the end of the first night on Rally Ceredigion. I don't think I've spoken to you live on air since that dramatic second day of action, but we'll ignore the second bit, but the first bit, taking an overall stage win, fantastic.
Yeah, incredible feeling. What a feeling to do that on a home stage and get the best of those ERC guys out there. So no, incredible feeling, and yeah, a bit of a hero to zero moment for me, but we'll do.
As well, original legend of these parts, and there you are. Number 1 on the door, Mark Kelly, Will Atkins. We've got a hairpin here, and you know it's going to be a good corner for a little bit of action, a bit of entertainment for you here on the live stream when everyone says, please tell me you're going to the hairpin. We are. So we've got 2 camera shots for you here for the first and second stage. So what we'll get is the first so many cars through at 1-minute intervals, and then we'll be on to 30-second intervals as we drop the rest of the cars in seeded order as per your entry list into proceedings. A number of big news stories here as well, not least of which Brad Cole and Jamie Vaughan are back, and they're in a new car. Now it does say Mark II on the entry list, but it's a very different Mark II that they have with them. It's a Rally 2 Fiesta. They had that big accident on the Isle of Man, Brad breaking his arm, and here you are, our championship winners, second year on the trot, third for Jack Morton. It is Callum Black and Jack Morton in that Palace Connections 586 Sport Fiesta Rally 2. Nicely sideways round there, locking up, a little bit of tyre smoke in bright sunshine. It is glorious weather. It's like the sunshine, and the summer is back here this weekend. It will be short-lived, I'm sure, but it is nice to have a bit of sunshine because it's been a cold few days, hasn't it? I actually had to scrape the ice off my car the other morning, which was a little frustrating, but here we go. If you want to check the live results out and follow them as we follow the action live, you can at rallies.info. Click on the Hills Ford Stages link, and the live results throughout the rally will be up to the second as the cars finish the stages. It's a great way to follow a rally. I just think back to when I used to first watch rallying. It certainly wasn't like that. We're spoiled, aren't we? Here we are then, a man who would dearly, dearly love to get an overall win. And just to make it a little easier for himself, he's widening the stage there on the hairpin. Neil Roskell, Di Roberts alongside. You can see he's already pushing here in the first stage. I'm not sure if that will result in a penalty. It would if it was a circuit rally, wouldn't it? It should be okay. Mark Kelly, Will Atkins then. A 1:41 for them in this first stage. Last year's winners setting the benchmark. What can our freshly crowned champions do? The announcement coming after the previous round at Rally Ceredigion. Callum Black and Jack Morton. Takes the pressure off a little bit for Neil and I. They can't be caught for third place in the championship. Tell you what though, our 2022 champion is one to watch. He was second overall last year with Paul Morris alongside Steve Wood, Kenny Hull there. Paul Morris, I'm going to call him from my spot here in the van. I just mentioned him and he sauntered over just as I did. We're stuck in the middle of the spectator area here, which means I've got plenty of options. We've got Graham Ellsworth, we'll chat to later. James Williams, you just heard from. But the main man, the man who heads up this championship for the final round, because he's throwing the towel in. He's not really. He's done a fantastic job over the last 2 years of building up the profile along with Paul Wakely and Donna Preston. Paul Morris, bittersweet for you here at the Hills Forward stages on your home event.
Yeah, it's a sad weekend. We sort of saying goodbye over the weekend, but we leave the championship in a better place than where we picked it up.
You leave this championship I think you're underplaying that. I think it is one of the, if not the top championship in the country right now, and it's been an exciting 2 years under Paul's stewardship. There is a man who, look at that, absolutely throwing that car around. Ross Whittock jumping in, replacing Max Reynolds. Chat to Ross actually at the start earlier, and they've been just being a bit more technical with the pace notes of late, and Ross was just putting some pluses and minuses on the threes and fours. You walk away from me, Morris, on Sam Touzle's pace notes, just to get a bit more science in there. And he said it's the thing that's really made Sam quicker is understanding what he's listening to and understanding how those pace notes work. So you were second overall last year, Morris, and when you came over to me earlier, you said you're even more sad about not being here competing alongside Steve Wood.
Yeah, it's Kenny's got one of the best seats in the house this weekend. It's a shame I'm not out, but I've got my duties as championship coordinator this weekend.
That bodes well for next year, doesn't it? He's got a small matter of a wedding to attend to and get sorted for, but maybe we'll see Paul Morris back in that co-driver's seat. Who knows? Former Works rally co-driver. The championship has been in good hands, and so will any rally car that he graces the co-driver's seat of. There is a man who knows how to win on roads like these. 6-time Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally champion Damien Cole, Michael Gilby alongside. He was champion in 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14. Missed it out in 15, and it was 16 again, wasn't it? His championship win. So, do you know what? We've got 2 World Rally cars out on this event. Now, that might not sound like anything in particular, but we don't generally have them anymore. 2 Fiesta World Rally cars, Morris.
Yeah, well, the R5 Rally 2 car has come on so good over recent years that they're quicker than the 1600 World cars now anyway.
Yes, in the right hands and with the right map. And there's all sorts of talk of this with the regulations changing, say you can't have 34mm restrictor next year. Actually, the counters to that is you don't need it. As Morris said, the modifications and the developments and the updates that have come down the line from M-Sport and the various manufacturers of these Rally 2 machines means they are more than competitive. But it is nice day here at WRC car, isn't it? There's Rob Swan, Tom Woodburn in their Fiesta WRC out for, well, certainly they'll be in the hunt for a top position this weekend, and that is what they came here for. Tom freshly crowned as ERC3 champion. I lose track of all the numbers. He is ERC3 champion and junior co-driver champion as well in the ERC as of Rally Ceredigion a couple of weeks ago. It's been a busy few weeks for rallying here in the UK. Rally Ceredigion, Woodpecker Stages last weekend, and here we are at the final round of the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. If you're just tuning in, welcome to special stage. Paul Morris, our championship coordinator for effectively the last time, although he is going to be helping to transition to whoever becomes the coordinator into the new season and has already put the calendar together. So I suspect still has a bit of work to do, Paul, although not here on the stages.
Yeah, next year's championship has only just started. We've got the calendar sort of 80% certain. We're doing championship regs. We've got to sort out the championship dinner for this year, so there's plenty going on.
That's happening on the 9th of November, isn't it? No, so it looks like with Simon Bowen and Craig Simkis have gone off in their Fiesta S2000 Turbo. They're the next car on the road, at least. I didn't quite see catch it on the live stream there. I'm not sure if you did, but Bowen actually said to me he's looking for a big push here this weekend. As far as the championship positions go, he can still make some ground up on the leaderboard. So looks like Simon Bowen, Craig Simkis are off the stage there. We have got times coming through now, haven't we? So Mark Kelly, Will Atkins lead the way by 3 seconds. It's a... Okay, so Bowen really has overshot, just looking back on the replay in the studio there, he's really overshot that corner there. John Indry, Tony Hewitt alongside, or Hewitt as they've written on the window, and a nice bit of anti-lag to get the spectators going here at the hairpin, just a little way into this first stage. Mark Kelly setting the pace then with a 1:41 through here. Callum Black losing 18 seconds at the moment, which is not what we would be expecting, of course. Clearly had some kind of issue. It could be a spin, it could be anything, couldn't it, through a short stage like this. Sam Touzle, though, on an equal time with Rob Swan. Tom Woodburn in second place with a 1:44, and just 2 seconds back, 5 seconds off the lead. Neil Roskell, Di Roberts at this stage on an identical time to Steve Wood. Kenny Hull, you get the picture. It is close after just one stage, just under 2 miles gone of the Hills Forward stages, the final round of the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. There's a man who looked nice and relaxed at the catering van in the service area just a little earlier this afternoon. Roger Duckworth, Alan Cook in their R5, equal on points with Roger Moran as well, the hill climb cum rally driver in the B15 class. Rogers everywhere. What was the film? Gone in 60 seconds, wasn't it? 2 Rogers don't make a right. Well, they do here in the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. So it was a fast off in such a short stage for Simon Bowen and Craig Simkis. Not the sort of stage we usually see those kind of mistakes on, so haven't got any updates for you on that, but they are off the road as things stand. But the big news, just one stage in at the moment, is that Callum Black and Jack Morton are 18 seconds down. 1:41, the fastest time through this opening stage at the moment. Still a few leading crews who could get them turns, not least that pair. A one-off outing in the Fiesta Rally 2 for Will Hill, who is our B14 champion, normally driving that Fiesta Rally 3. Hills Forward with their name above the door, and this weekend borrowing that car off Buckley's that Osham Price has driven in the British Rally Championship and indeed in the ERC as well. Great to see it here in the Pro Tyre Championship, and great to see Will Hill getting his shot in a Rally 2 Fiesta. Hills Ford, the team that used to run the Brooklyn Ford. Remember the Sierra days? Gwyndaf Evans, Phil Collins, you got it. The pink Sierra, Mr. Tonkinson to carpets, of course. So that is a team with some heritage, and out with the top car this weekend. Could it be a top result for Will Hill and Richard Crozier to end the season off? It could be. Will actually 6th overall in the championship, which is a remarkable performance. And Steve Simpson and Mark Glenister pushing hard through the hairpin. The diffs on the car really working. Getting the power down, a bit of tyre smoke, and then nipping it in. Not taking the wide line like Roskell did into that bail, luckily for him. So we are still awaiting an update on Simon Bowen and Craig Simkis, who have gone off. But we do expect there's going to be a bit of a gap while we get recovery in to move Bowen's car. I've just had that through on a message, so we will keep you updated on the situation there, of course. So Callum Black, Jack Morton now 18 seconds down. Damien Cole, Michael Gilby 7 seconds in front of them. John Indry, Tony Hewitt just ahead of them with a 150. But 1:41 is the current time to beat through this first stage. As I say, a few drivers out here who will be doing their best to get on terms. So we have got, just to confirm, a little bit of a break in the action there. As soon as we get things back underway, we're going to keep this rolling because there are a number of interesting people down here in the spectator area, one of whom is somebody who I've looked forward to speaking to for a long time. Graham Elmore, you have done some things on these lanes, haven't you?
You shouldn't say things like that, yes. On four wheels.
Let's talk about the rallying, shall we?
Yes, thoroughly enjoyable. And I would have thought this event would have been as dry as it is today. It's beautiful.
Look, we've got a gap in the action, which is quite handy, actually, that you're here. But I'm going to just get a flavour of what it was like back in those days, because I cannot get enough of the stories from what we call the glory days of rallying, when, you had local drivers who would go up against the current stars of the day in works cars and just capture the imagination of rally fans, because it was such a big thing back then, wasn't it?
Well, it was fantastic. I can remember years ago, when, not so much in the lanes, but when Ford sent Roger Clark down to try and see what I was up against, see how competitive I was. And I started one, because I won it the last 2 years, and Roger was behind me, and he was giving me a bit of pressure, sort of thing, but we finished. I think 2.5 minutes ahead of him. So, that was a tick in my box. And then after then, it was nice to hear that there was no mobile phones then, but we were going into where the presentation was taking place, and we could hear him on the phone there in the foyer of the hotel saying, Peter Ashcroft was the manager at the time, a lovely man. He said, no, Peter, I couldn't do nothing about it. Couldn't do nothing about it at all. What he was referring to is he couldn't do anything about me beating him eventually. So that was even better. That was a tick in my box.
Fantastic. How good is this? We'll come back to some of your exploits, because they are legendary. You come up in every single rally story I seem to read about, but just how good is this to see your local event with this many people stood out spectating?
Well, let me say, it's fantastic. The organisers have got the permission and the support of the locals to come on this event. Look at the people here today. It's fantastic. That's so important it is to keep this motorsport alive. But I think the motorsport aspect of it, the motorsport rallying, this is where it's going to be sort of progress on from, outside the forest, because we are under trouble with regarding forestry prices, etc., and this is more public friendly then, so there's no damage done, there's nothing at all. Even saying that there's a guy down there, number 8, he's just going straight off into the trees, but nevertheless it's safer on these type of roads as long as they got the support of the locals, unless it continues.
If you're just tuning in, this is coverage of the Hillsford Stages, the final round of the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, and that is the voice of Graham Elmore, a legend in these parts and a legend in rallying generally. You can't open a rally archive or a motoring news championship book and not read Graham's name somewhere. Graham, I've got a fantastic photo of you from when I worked at Cadwell Park, and it was in the archives there, and I took a copy of it because I loved it. It was you in the works escort coming down the hill. It must have been a rallycross event or something, in the mud, and it looked awesome.
Well, it probably was. It's frightening, nevertheless. That's a long time ago, Paul. But these stories and photographs, we all custom blind over Facebook and one thing and another, but some of the photographs that people come up with of over your career is absolutely fantastic, and I love to see them and support people who's got time to put this on the wavelength. It's very good. But
tell me another highlight from a career which is so well held and so highly regarded. Another highlight from you, Graham.
Well, one of my highlights is when I did have that phone call from Peter Ashcroft, and I was sat in my house at the time, and the phone rang, and this guy on the end said, "It's about time me and you had a chat." I said, "Who is it?" He said, "It's Peter Ashcroft." And I said to him, without thinking at all, foot in mouth, it's about bloody time. We were spending so much money, my own money, like everybody, other competitors do, to get noticed. And for us to get noticed this was back in 75, many, many years ago, it was always hand to mouth for keeping the cars up together and running. So everything went into it, and it was nice to be noticed. Rather than knock on their doors, it was nice to be noticed from my achievements, and then it went on from there, and it was a great job. But Peter Ashcroft was a brilliant boss, absolutely brilliant, and I owe him everything.
So you get the call up. It's a real fairy tale story there. You get the call up. What happens next? You go down to, I suppose now if you get the call up to your works rally driver, you go and do some PR shots. You go to the factory, have a seat fitting. What happened in those days?
Well, in those days, he made an appointment. We both agreed on a certain time for me to bring my co-driver, Stuart Arrod, who's with me all through my professional career. Made an appointment for him to meet us all up at a meeting at Boreham. By Chelmsford. So we had a meeting up there in their offices, showed around and one thing and another, met a few guys like Mick Jones and everybody else up there, and just seeing what was going on. And then the main discussions was talked about down the pub, like the usual meetings are, over a meal, and we agreed he gave me three options whether I wanted to go to Thomas Motors, County Garage, or I think it was David Sutton, or somewhere in London it was. I don't think it was David at the time. But anyway, and he said, look, I'm giving you the first choice. So the first choice was Thomas Motors. I knew their credibility and everything else. And the guys up there, Mick Donegan and Pete Mackay and the old man there, gave me such a wonderful time. It was an accolade to them boys. Is an accolade from a remark from Peter Asgard. Said he looked back and looked at my car and he said, "Do you know what? That's built better than my boys built it at Boreham." And I thought that was a pat on the back for Mick and the boys up at Thomas Motors at Blackpool. But that's how and it went on from there with they gave me the option to, well, not an option, they gave me the chance to drive the Group 1 RS2000. Which they gave Malcolm Weston, the same chap, and I don't remember the chap name, the Australian, I think it was Australian, David Lang. He went on there and he smashed so many cars, it was unbelievable. That's another story. He went on to win the championship on the 77, and that allowed me then to go on to the Group 4 Escort, which was a fantastic car, and things grew from there on and thereafter. We thoroughly enjoyed our career with it, and met many good people, a few odd, shady ones, but the majority of people within the sport have been absolutely marvellous.
You have competed against and beaten the very best in the sport, people we talk about all the time. Just who was the most formidable? Who did you look at on an entry list who was just behind you or just in front of you on a rally and think, oh, God, here we go?
Well, my main man at the time, which turned out to be a good friend in the end, was Roger Clark, Albert. He's such a fantastic bloke. Then you're alongside them Walter Roll, Marco Allen, Henry Toyven was a little bit later on in years, so I wasn't actually competing against him. But to have those boys, I can always remember it was on a Scottish rally. They had this woman come along in an Audi Quattro, and we were at the start line, and she was running about 3 and I was about 6, and Stuart Aaron, my co-driver, said, "Hey, we got this woman starting ahead of us." And I said to Stuart, "Well, there's no bloody woman that's going to beat me on this stage." It was Michelle Mouton, and in a four-wheel drive, first time we'd been rallied in the Scottish forest, she tore a piece off all of us, and I don't know whether she won it or not, but anyway, Michelle Mouton was, I really put my foot in my mouth. She was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic, and she went on to bigger things than that. But I always remember saying, no woman is going to beat me on a bloody stage ever. I'm a chauvinist pig, actually. You can guess that, can't you? But she's a brilliant driver, and she went on and on with all sorts of vehicles. Fantastic.
Well, fantastic stories. Now, a lot is made about where we've come in rallying and what's going to happen next. And I was on a podcast the other day and people were talking about what happens in the next 10 years. I think rallying's enjoying a little bit of a renaissance, don't you, in some respects?
I do, and I think this is the way it's going. I think the Forest Rally, that's why we've chosen to do some tarmac events now. I think forestry is beginning to overprice itself. It's getting to be very unaffordable. It's just, and we're getting so much hassle from not so much the organisers, because the organisers want to do the rallies in the forest. It's the bureaucratic ideas with the Forestry Commission, Parliament, environment, everything else. But this is the way it's going, and I thoroughly look forward to it.
Fantastic. They are very poignant words from a man who knows this sport so well. Thank you for giving us a few of your stories. We need to do that more in more detail at some point, don't we?
You're welcome. Thank you very much, Paul.
Graham Elmore, an absolute legend and someone whose stories I love reading about. It's so good to talk to him, and we will do that in more detail. I'm looking at producer Wayne and thinking one of our special stage features has to be with this man in somewhere around here. You're live right now online, so Nick and everyone will be watching you and listening to some of your stories, which I'm sure they've heard it a million times, but they must be very proud of them. You can bore me anytime you want, Graham, with those stories. As you saw then, Simon Bowen, Craig Simkis did get through this stage eventually after going off. So the car looks like it's in one piece. They obviously got stuck off the stage. The recovery guys have done their work. The marshals have got the car out of the way, and we should be back underway very shortly with the action. How good was that? I suppose we've sort of bookended it there, haven't we? Two legends of our sport at either ends of their career. James Williams joining us first, and there Graham Elmore on this live stream here in stage one. Wasn't that a treat? If you like stories like that, you're going to absolutely love, and you must join me on the 12th of October at the Motorist near Leeds for our Rally Legends Day. We have 4 Yorkshire stars from the Motoring News Championship days: Tony Sathington, Pete Smith, Jerry Matthew and Alan Hill, and then the equally legendary rally author JP, Jonathan Pullen, will be joining me to host that as well. John Jackson, you arrived just at that moment. I was just talking to a legend of our sport, Graham Elmore, who agreed with me that we are just on the cusp of having a bit of a renaissance here in this sport, with everyone over the last few years talking about how rallying's not in the spotlight anymore, and it's a niche. I've heard it's a niche sport and it's a minority sport so many times in the last few years that it's quite nice to be able to have a good argument back to that, isn't it? Head of rallying for Motorsport UK, you must agree?
I do agree. Looking at the crowd of people here, I think everybody else would agree too.
Normally you don't get a chance to see the crowd because you're in that lovely Castrol Yaris Rally 2. A tough event for you on the ERC event, but that was always going to be a tough event, wasn't it? Whichever way round you looked at it. The car's new, you guys are fairly new to it, and you got those European crews coming in.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they've been competing at another level all year, haven't they? And, you know, they've been around Europe at a pace which is just mad, really. And I must admit, some of the cuts they were taking made it even more difficult. I've never seen a cut in Antamore, never mind the amount they were taking last week. But no, listen, it's always brilliant to go up against those guys, and having that opportunity in the Castrol Toyota, yeah, phenomenal. And what a rally it was.
Now, I do like that you're here, because recently I have been waxing lyrical about the way the sport's going and some of the decisions coming down the line. I feel really positive about it, and I think it's useful for people at home to understand that the person behind those decisions, or at least leading them and really driving them through, because I know you do, is someone who is equally as passionate as all of us. You're a rally enthusiast. Your whole family is embedded in this sport. Rallying's been your life, and here you are competing as well in the BRC, as well as the day job being to you know, grab hold of this sport and pull it forwards.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm lucky I've managed to make the sport my job, but I stuck my head above the parapet at the end of last year when the job came up, and some people will thank me for it and some people won't, but yeah, look, if you cut me in half, I'd bleed the thing, and you know, I love it, and I want to give it a future that my friends, people's grandkids and stuff can enjoy in the future, and that's what it's all about. It's giving it that platform that it can survive, and we're starting to see light at the end of the tunnel. I think, like you say, look, we are getting to that point of a renaissance period, and I hope we really come out strong, because I really believe we can.
And you've got, you know, Dave Richards at the helm with Hugh Chambers there really pushing this. They're rally men, and that's important for rally enthusiasts to know as well, isn't it? It's very easy to be negative when we have had a bit of a rough ride in the sport for a few years, but I think now is the time that we all start looking at what's happening and really actually take a step back, isn't it?
Exactly. You know, to be fair, I've got to say they do support all the ideas, mad or not, that come across the table, and we do sit and have great discussions about them. You know, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. We all want to see it, you know, get back to the powerhouse we once were, and I think we all do.
And I'm very outspoken about how we have to cater for casual fans. It's not just about rally nerds like you and me. And I've been a bit outspoken, probably a bit too much sometimes, about how complicated we make it for people watching the sport. Not least, one of those things being the classes, and just different classes, different championships. How do you follow a sport that has so many different ways of describing the categories that people are in? And you've done something about that as well.
Yeah, we have. We've got a class structure coming in 25, and I know we've fluttered around the quote of, you know, if there was 113 different classes across the 8 headline championships, that's honestly not a lie. We sat down and literally counted them all up, and you could have taken one car, done 6 rallies, and been in 6 different classes. And how on earth can people follow that? It's impossible. So hopefully now, UK, it's not going to please everybody at first, and it will be probably an evolving thing for the next couple of years. But at least now we've got a grounding that people can understand.
Yeah, I think so. And you've also included a few exciting things as well, even though you were tight-lipped when I first asked you about it. We're following Europe into the era of Group A and Formula 2 being historics, and that's a tricky balance, and nobody wants to crash over the absolute delight we have at the moment in historic rallying, and we won't do. I know, talking to Colin Heppenstall, who runs the British Historic Rally Championship and the Roger Albert Clark Rally, he's keen to make sure there's a home for these rally cars. I know the BTRDA is looking at similar things, without damaging or treading too heavily on the things that already work very well.
No, exactly. You know, and I know Colin will do a very good job at giving those cars a home. But isn't it exciting that we can move historics forward into the Group A Formula 2 era? Don't get me wrong, we're not going to see hordes of Maxi Megans and stuff out overnight.
Oh, sure are you?
Well, hopefully you'll tell me otherwise. But
I know of at least one. Is that good? I know of at least one Maxi Megan.
Well, I'll be at its first rally. But look, it's moving everything forward. When Historic started, the Escort was 25 years old. Now these cars are 30 years old, nearly, and it's about time.
And the rest?
And the rest.
Showing your age there. They're a bit older than that, John.
No, it's denial, isn't it? Look, I just can't wait to see how it evolves over the next couple of years. It's going to be so exciting.
It is. Look, people tuned in to watch some rally cars now, and they will see rally cars very shortly when we get this back underway. But actually, I'm really pleased that we just had a chance just to take a beat and just have a little chat about the sport, because there have been a few podcasts and a few conversations of late. And I think to speak to you, the man who is in charge and is tasked with pulling all these things together, I think that's quite nicely timed, actually. What do you love most about this sport? I'm really putting you on the spot now.
You just can't beat the sights and the smells of it, can you? When you're in the middle of, even somewhere like this, or in the middle of a forest, there's nothing like it, is there? You can't go to a circuit and get the same kind of assault on the senses, can you? And
You've just given us a scoop. Do you realise that?
How?
We're not going to go electric rally cars anytime soon, are we? If it's sight and the smells that our rallies manager likes best about the sport. But no, you're right. It's about the theatre of this thing.
Yeah, it is, exactly. Like, we have made a class for hybrids and EVs, by the way.
Saw that, but I skated over it, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
Like I say, if you cut me in half, I'd bleed it. And you just can't beat standing here like this. And it's a lovely afternoon, great crowd of people, and some rally cars going around. You just literally can't beat it, can you?
Who's your tip for this weekend? Championship's been crowned, so who's your tip for the win?
That still puts me on the spot, that.
More so,
yeah.
I said, who's your favourite rally driver? We'll ask that next, but who do you think is going to win?
I still think Callum and Jack. Yeah. They're just on good form at the minute, aren't they? The pace they had at Ceredigion was incredible. And I think they just carried forward the confidence into here.
Yeah, they took an overall stage win as well, didn't they, on the second day? No one else was beating Padden that day, were they?
They've not let me forget that since.
Jonathan Jackson, thank you so much. I mean, you and I are good friends. We know each other very well in this sport, but not often do we get a chance to chat like this. And I think that was a nice little break in the action to get a real feel for how things are going. And I hope people at home watching got a feel for the passion behind this sport at Motorsport UK, because I certainly have when I've been there. Thank you. Enjoy your experience spectating for once, mate.
I know, it's nice. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love being in the car, but I can't remember last time I came to watch a rally, so I'm looking forward to seeing it.
If you were listening to that or watching that, please tell me if you think we can have this sport in better hands right now at Motorsport UK, because I really don't think we could, and I feel very positive about the things coming down the line. Anyway, if you are just tuning in, welcome to Special Stage, and welcome to the Hills Forward stages, the final round 8 of the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. Another man who I'm going to speak to very briefly, another legendary co-driver. I shared a photo of him grimacing at Callum Black's perm the other day, is Paul Wakely. Paul, this championship, it's fair to say, has been your life over the last couple of years. I've seen how you, Tracy, Donna, Paul have just been, you've been kind of on a road trip around the events and the work that goes in between as well, all of you. You're leaving us at the end of this season, but you leave it in a very good place. Are you pleased with what's gone on?
Yeah, I think we've enjoyed what we've done, to be honest. It's good to see the championship doing very well, and I hope it continues. Yeah.
This sport's been good to you over the years, and I guess part of what you've done is give something back, but I've seen you having a ball.
Oh, definitely, without a doubt. I enjoyed time competing, and I've enjoyed putting something back as well, because that's something I hadn't done until this championship. So, yeah, quite pleased with that, to be honest.
And to the Hills Forward stages, our championship has been crowned. Callum Black is our champion for the second year running. You sat alongside this guy in the BRC years and in his junior years. What's he going to be thinking coming into this? Is he going to give it one last hurrah?
I got a feeling he might. I don't know. Difficult one to answer, really. But I think this will be I think this will be a fight on with quite a few of them, to be honest with you. So
Roskell looked really relaxed earlier, which is usually a good sign.
Yeah, he did indeed.
The boss lady tells me that's a good sign when he's relaxed as well. Dawn was telling me that he's got no pressure on, and he usually, when there's no pressure on, goes pretty well. And he's even made the chicane easy for himself here at the hairpin.
Yeah, and I think Dawn's probably planning on purchasing a horse now, I think, as well, from what I've seen on Facebook. So she'll have a bit of a pastime to get into herself as well. Which I thought
you meant for Neil. I wonder where that was going then.
Could be. Perhaps he'll take it up. I'm not quite sure.
Well done, Neil. But here, have a horse instead.
Yeah, indeed. No, I'm hoping it'll be a good event as well for the organisers, because we've been around a bit of the route today, and it's quite a highly populated area for closed road events, and I think the organisers work very hard on the PR inside to get this to get it through, to be honest. So I hope that goes well for them as well, to be honest. It's great to see a lot of people here as well.
Paul Wakely, another of the organising team here in the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, and I should really complete the collection, shouldn't I, and have a really quick word with Donna, because she doesn't normally let me speak to her. Look, this is the last chance I'm going to get. We've got a little break in the action. Are you feeling sad? Is it bittersweet to be leaving this full-time job you've done in addition to a full-time job for the last 2 years?
Look, I've loved being a part of the Asphalt Championship. It's been amazing. It's been hugely successful in our last year. But yeah, it's great to be able to hand it over in a great place to somebody, for them to carry on and take it from strength to strength.
You get to commentate now as well, if you like. Donna Peston, who has joined Paul and Paul as the organiser of this championship in the last couple of years, and they've done a remarkable job. It could be you next. BTRDA is accepting applications. Rob Hughes, Dylan Thomas only joined us for the first round in the championship this year in the R5. Nice neat line through the hairpin here. I'll get back to rallies.info, which is where you need to be if you want to follow the results live, and why wouldn't you? You should have the times through as well. Simon Bowen, Craig Simkis coming through in a time of 4 minutes. Obviously they were stuck by the side of the stage, hence the gap in the action, but we're now back underway. A 1:41 from last year's winner Mark Kelly. Will Atkins is the time to beat so far. Closest to them, just 3 seconds behind Sam Toozle. Ross Whittock. And there is Rob Tout, Terry Martin. I tell you what, I looked at that car in the service area earlier. It really is a good looking livery on that Fiesta R5. The service area here was magic actually earlier. There were a lot of spectators wandering around. The cars and crews and teams were all kind of arranged in a bowl. And it was really good. And talking to Mike Broad, another legend of this sport and president of the BTRDA no less, he said to me, the organisers have done a cracking job to get this event to where it is this year. And I think they need to leave it just like this and just, make it better from the foundation that they've got here, because it really has garnered a lot of attention and got a lot of excitement around it as well. James Laby, Sean Cunniff. If he finishes, James will become the junior drivers champion here in the Pro Tyre Championship, so he will be looking for a finish. But you know what, that's a really difficult thing to do. We talk about it so often. We talked to Callum about it last time out at Rally Ceredigion, because although he had that monstrous lead out in front, it's a really difficult thing to manage that. There is car number one. So this is what you're going to see now. You're going to see 30-second intervals, cars coming thick and fast, because they're going to slot back in at the start line and do a second run through this stage now. So it's just going to be car. And as you can see from the spectators joining us here in the stage, that is no bad thing. That is exactly what all these people have come out to see here at the hairpin in this first stage of the night. This is the Castle Morton Common stage. Stages 1 and 2 for this afternoon. Roger Moran, Dan Petrie alongside. Moran Motorhome, sponsors of the rally. Legendary hill climb driver Roger. had his best run of the year on Rally Ceredigion with Michael Gilby alongside, actually, who's in with Damien Cole this weekend. I always highlight Daniel Petrie's name in red on these live shows because Michelle Petrie, Mum, is usually watching, and if I haven't noticed that he's hopped in the car with someone, I'm in trouble. Here's another sight to behold, our newly crowned champion, Callum Black. Jack Morton alongside, co-drivers champion as well this season. They've got the bit between their teeth. But it does look like Callum has stopped just at the top of the hill here after the hairpin. I'm not sure what's gone on there. The car just seemed to cut out and come to a stop. See the car, but it does sound like it stopped when it went over the brow. Just out of sight. Keep an eye on that, of course. There's Craig Fleming and Paul Rumery in the Impreza. Callum Black did have an issue through the first stage. They were 18 seconds down. Do you know what? I tell you, I told you he'd made the hairpin, rearranged the furniture on the hairpin to suit himself. So Neil Roskell, Dyer Roberts back alongside. After Rob Fagg jumped in the car and did a marvellous job alongside Neil. With the last round at Rally Ceredigion. And that is officially the quickest escort on asphalt here in the UK. Darren Atkinson, Harry Stubbs alongside this time out. Our B13 champion is safe in that third spot in the championship overall as well. And it's the same top three as we had in 2023. Callum Black, Jack Morton, Neil Roskell, with Dyer Roberts alongside Andrew Rufford taking a year out of the sport. For some reason, my results are not updating, but at the moment, Mark Kelly sticking to their 141. Callum Black, Jack Morton losing a crest here, just out of the shot of the hairpin that we've got for you here. We will bring you an update on that as soon as we get it, but clearly problems for our reigning champions. Good job that the championship isn't resting on it, but not what they want. Hugh James, Lewis Sim. Lewis Sim is second in the B13 co-drivers championship. He's 8th behind Ian Parker. We'll see him shortly. He's equal on points with Ian Taylor as well. He's in an Ian sandwich. Is Lewis Sim, so he needs a good haul of points. A bit weird, isn't it? He's a good haul of points here. And there is the Jerseyman who has had so much support from back home. He's taken advantage of Neil Roskell's line through that hairpin as well, just taking the wide line out and carrying the speed. Sam Touzle with Ross Whittack alongside, co-driver to James Williams in the BRC and the ERC round this year. 5th in the championship overall. Possibility of pushing for 4th as Simon Bowen has had that moment here. Started in a Citroen Saxo VTS in 2018. Sam Touzle, just look at him now, but look at that man. Brad Cole, Jamie Vaughan had a big accident on the Isle of Man. Brad broke his arm, and do you know what? He refused to get taken to hospital on the basis that the stage would get stopped, and he didn't want to do that to everyone else. So he sat there, probably living his best life on the morphine in the ambulance, waiting to be transferred to hospital. We then had a meal with him at the end, and he said, "It's me a long time before I'm out." The car has taken a hell of a lot of rebuilding, but look, they rebuilt it into a Rally 2 Fiesta. What can I say? Damien Cole, Michael Gilby withdrew from last year's rally, 6-time asphalt champion. What can they do here? We'll give you some update on the leaderboard in just a moment. Just quickly on Brad Cole, he's done one test at Trawls Vinid on the ranges up there in North Wales with Matt Edwards, and Matt rightly told him, look, no heroics, this is not the time to go shooting out for a podium because you won't be able to do it. That was a moment and a half, wasn't it, for Rob Swan and Tom Woodburn. Just getting that Fiesta WRC. You see the jeopardy of touching the grass, even when it's dry and dusty like it is here. on these Malvern lanes, having had glorious weather for the last few days, and it is really hot here tonight. Just getting under braking and getting the wheel on the grass. The grass dips away a little bit as well in the braking zone there, and the car got all out of shape, didn't it? Nice bit of angle from the Fiesta WRC. And there is a car we love to see out, and look at that. He promised me lots of big skids, did Lee Edwards, and he's giving us them, isn't he? Robbie Pugh alongside that Gartrack G3 Escort. Interesting fact, it was developed in secret alongside the RS 1700T. Legendary car, never really made it, did it? And on a secret test day at the Boreham test track, the G3 was quicker than the RS 1700T. And the rest is history. Now that one is not as Gartrack intended, it has a Jaguar. There's Alan Morgans, Ian Taylor alongside, I mentioned that co-driver back in B13. And Ian is one of the drivers on equal points with Lewis Sim in that tussle for co-driver overall honours in B13. Alan Morgans was in the G3 Escort that you just saw at the last round. Fair play to Lee, letting Alan use that car to get some points towards the championship. Back in his Escort though, after that incident he had at Charles Vinnet. I think it's his Escort, I'm pretty sure it is. Mike English, Andy Robinson there, currently 9th in B15. We'll be quite pleased, I think, though, with the progress there. Could even make up a couple of positions this weekend. It's all about how many more points they could add to their current tallies. It's about the 6 best scores in the championship season, so some points to be made up for Mike English this weekend in that Rally 2 Fiesta. There's Simon Bowen, Craig Simpkins. As you can see, the car is okay. The time that you see at rallies.info through this stage is simply the result of an off in the first time through this opening stage of the day. So they're way down the order at the moment. But Mark Kelly, Will Atkins lead the way as things stand. It is quite close though at the moment in the top 10. As you see, for Phil Hopkins, Sam Allen 6th in B14. It's all about those championship positions at this point. In a battle for championship position with Richard Slinger, Evo 6 versus Evo 6. That's something I like saying. Might get more of that with those Group A, the Group A class that we talked about with John Jackson just now, head of rallies at Motorsport UK. If you didn't catch that, or the chat we had with Graham Elsmore, local legend, well, legend full stop, during the gap in action, make sure you tune in for that. Go back and look at it afterwards, well worth it. John Indry, Tony Hewitt in the Mitsubishi Mirage. It says on the entry list, Space Star. That's not John Indry being comedic. That is the name given to those Mirages, I believe, over in Japan. JDM cars are called Space Stars. I'm not sure why I've suddenly taken to writing that in the entry, but there we go. Maybe someone else filming the entry list from this weekend. As you see, Roger Duckworth and Alan Cook, who, to remind you, are equal on points with Roger Moran in the B15 class. No top championship positions in the offing for either of those drivers, but they'll be looking to get a few more points, and no doubt of a good battle on the stages this weekend, the two Rogers. I mentioned Brad Cole and his new car. There's another man with a new car this weekend, Sean Quigley, Colin Quigley alongside. Joined us at the first round in the R5 in the B15 class. This time out is in the new Rally 2, so in the R5 class for homologated spec cars, 32mm restrictor as per Motorsport UK regs, and as all Rally 2 and R5 cars will have to be from next year onwards. Seems to be getting to grips with that Rally 2 car himself, doesn't he, William Hill? Richard Crozier alongside in the headline car, I suppose you could say, with the sponsor's name on board, Hills Ford, stepping up from that Fiesta Rally 3, which is on display, was on display in the service area earlier, alongside that car which Ocean Pius has used in the BRC this year. Ooh, Steve Simpson getting it all out of shape and doing a bit of a grass track moment. Tried to lock it up and then tried to spin it round, and the road just a little bit too thin to be doing that, and the The signage took a bit of a battering, as did the safety tape here in the junction, but not too much time lost. A little bit of drama. You can probably hear that the spectators all got quite excited just there. Oliver Davies, Jack Bowen, outside the top 10 at the moment in the B13 class, which has been really competitive this season, hasn't it, so far? They could overhaul Dave Willett and Jerry Fitzel, though, with some good points here to arrive in the top 10 championship standings. They'll be no doubt looking to do just that. So already some action for you at the hairpin here. Hairpin always provides a nice bit of entertainment, doesn't it? Oliver Hopkins there, Ashley Trimble alongside in the second of the Mitsubishi Mirages, or Space Stars, as John Indry has taken to naming his. And we spoke to Graham Elmore, who needs no introduction, but if you needed an introduction, we gave you a very good one just a few moments ago during the break in the action while they pulled Simon Bowen out of the hedgerow. But Nick Elmore, his son, with Pauline Nash alongside, still sporting the suntan he got on Rally Barbados. He's up next, there he is. R29. Mitsubishi Evo 9. So at the moment, the leaderboard looks like this. Mark Kelly, Will Atkins, they won last year. They're doing a good job of stringing together another one here today after just these two short sub-2 mile stages to round off day one. 8 seconds of a lead from Sam Touzle. Ross Whittock now in second place. Behind them, Neil Roskell, Di Roberts, just a second behind as well. Pete Elkins, Andrew Joel in the Fiesta World Rally Car. Tell you what, how often do we have 2 World Rally Cars on the entry list? It's not the mid-2000 World Rally Cars we'd all like to see back on the stages, but you'll see plenty of those at the Historic Rally Festival in a couple of weeks' time, as you see Ben Friend and Cliff Simmons taking a trip out here onto the asphalt and just nudging one of those bales a little bit out of the way here at the hairpin, just like Neil Roskell did, but not with quite the style points that Roskell had earlier on when he widened the exit for the hairpin here in his first stage. But it's really tight between, I'll tell you what, actually, Roger Duckworth has put in a fantastic time, equaling Sam Touzle's time through the first stage here to drop himself into third overall behind Touzle. Gordon, Montana Morrison, Ian Parker, the third of those B13 co-drivers in the hunt for the B13 co-drivers title here this weekend. They're in the Grey Mark II that has become such a popular sight here in the championship in 2024. Tim Freeman and David Paul Williams there. So Roger Duckworth, Alan Cook clawing themselves up after less than 4 miles of the rally done, but 2 stages done, the end of day one, into third place overall on an identical overall time to Sam Touzle, Ross Whittock. That sets things up nicely. Just 8 seconds behind our rally leaders as well. Mark Kelly and Will Atkins. Neil Roskell, Di Roberts just a second back as well. It's all very close in the top 4. Steve Wood, Kenny Hull continuing that theme on an identical time. Here's Rob Hughes. Steve Wood, Kenny Hull on an identical time, 3 minutes 31 in total, and 2 identical stage times as well between him and Roskell. In fact, Roger Duckworth, Roskell, Steve Wood were identical, 146. As you see, Sean Quigley, Rob Tam getting to grips with these first 2 stages here. Terry Martin alongside. So used to seeing Quigley in a glanced up and saw a green and white R5, and it's no longer a green and white R5, is it? It is a Rally 2 now for Sean Quigley here as of this final round. William Hill, Richard, Morton Crozier. Again, we were talking about how close to the pace they've been, and the answer is very good news for those pairs inside the Hill car. So they're only a second back at the moment in 6th overall in the Hills Ford Rally 2 Fiesta. John Indry, Tony Hewitt, only 6 back in 7th. Steve Simpson, Mark Glenister, who you saw go very wide and take to the grass here to avoid the bales, in 8th. Damien Carmichael Gilby in 9th. And Callum Black, Jack Morton currently in 10th after a very difficult start to their rally. The car seeming to cut out. We'll try and get the inside line on what's happening there. As you see Roger Moran and Dan Petrie through in the Fabia R5 in the Moran Motorhomes car. So Callum Black, Jack Morton come here, newly crowned champions. But they will go into the overnight halt with something to do and some problems to find on that Colours Connections Rally 2 Fiesta, because it was not well. And they've had 2 very rough stages when you look at the times. Rough by their standards anyway. There's Ben Crump, Ian Beaumont alongside. And again, another championship position in his sights. With no Michael Harbour here this weekend, Ben could take the B11 title with a maximum score this weekend. That is exactly what he will be looking to do in the B11 class. And as we've seen so far from him this season, he will be pushing hard in order to do that. James Levy, Sean Cunniff, again, reminder, he will be junior drivers champion if he finishes. That's all he's got to do, get those points on the board from a finish. That's all he needs, is that close in the junior drivers championship. To the title being James. It's very close, isn't it? Sets things up very nicely going into day 2. We've got 8 more stages to look forward to. Tomorrow we'll be live on 3 and 10, and 2 of them for you. There's Josh Evans, Rhys Edwards, those clear R3s, don't have a habit of waking you up with their backfiring through the gears. Become a bit of a thing, hasn't it? Quite daunting for the drivers heading into this hairpin, because the camera can just pan round and show you still just in the bright sunshine here. It's a bit of a holiday atmosphere. We've got a lot of spectators up the hill away from the hairpin. There's a great atmosphere down here. Loads of people enjoying the action. And Craig Fleming and Paul Rumery could see all of them as they got that Subaru stopped before the hairpin. Dean Grimes, Mark Admonds in their Fiesta R5 there. So Roger Moran, Dan Petrie then into 7th overall. Rob Tout, Terry Martin into 8th. That knocks John Indry, Tony Hewitt down to 9th. Steve Simpson, Mark Glenister down to 10th. Of Damien Cole, Michael Gilby just outside the top 10. In 11th at this stage, but it is so tight as you see Darren Atkinson and Harry Stubbs. Our B13 champion driver for the 2nd year running in a safe 3rd place in the championship standings as well, coming here to the final round. Nothing to fight for as far as the championship is concerned, but I'll tell you what, these drivers have now got the delight of a gloves-off battle for glory in these stages. 10 stages of the Hills Ford this year. The rally which started in 2019 and has built from there, and it is enjoying a vintage year, I would say, so far, with the entry, with the first couple of stages, with the weather, with the layout and with the organisation. It feels like a very big event. There's Jez Bodain, Fiona Crump alongside in the 2.5 litre Escort, followed by a man who will be looking for a big push, Hugh James, Lewis Sim alongside, and will be after another B13 win. Absolutely cracking result for him on the rally at Ceredigion a couple of weeks ago, the previous round. Brad Cole, Jamie Vaughan then did a 1:52, which is around the sort of time that they would be expecting to do when they were in the B13 Escort, which is exactly what they were expecting, exactly what Matt Edwards three-time British Rally champion told him on the test recently, don't go for glory, get used to the car. Tim Hill, Paul Spooner alongside in the car which has taken Will Hill to the B14 title this season. He's second at the Hills Ford cars. Dad having a run out here on the Hills Ford stages, the rally which bears their name as the lead sponsor. And there is Brad Cole, Jamie Vaughan alongside. This rally all about experience in that new car. Do not underestimate the challenge of jumping into that car. They've done a few miles over Trolls Vineyard, nothing like driving in the lanes here. And this is about seat time for them. They're not going to be looking at stage time. They're not going to get carried away with trying to push too hard and trying to progress too much over the first event that they're doing in that car. The total mileage 62, just over 62 miles this weekend. That is not enough to get to grips with a World Rally Championship spec machine, is it? Jake Smith, Dave Tortoshell in the Mark II there. Another of the B13 crews on the event in a 2.4 litre Escort, joining in the fun and pitching themselves against our B13 Championship regulars. It is a lovely, sunny, balmy Saturday evening here in the Malvern Hills, near the Malvern Hills, as you see Lee Edwards and Robbie Pugh. Incidentally, Billy Coleman drove the first Escort G3. He took 4 fastest stage times at the Cork Rally just after it came out, which, given that the Mark III Escort was front-wheel drive at the time and a few of their rivals had stolen a march, not least Toyota, with Pentia Rickler in the GT AE86. People must have been quite surprised to see a rear-wheel drive Escort burst out of the scene, onto the scene and do the business, as it did Richard Weatherly. Chris Davies with a fantastic-looking C3 Rally 2. Or so miles of the 2024 Pro Tyre Motorsport UK. Litre car. Yeah, interestingly, we end up with the same top 3 in the same order that we had last season. That is a show of just how close the competition is here. Neil Roskell, Dyer Roberts pushing Callum Black, Jack Mawson all the way, at times having the edge on them as well, especially 3 rounds in at the end of the Manx. It looked like it was all over for Callum Black. Mike English, Andy Robinson there, 9th at the moment in B15, looking for some points to make up a few positions on the leaderboard in the championship at this final round. Yeah, at the end of the Manx, it looked like it was all over for Callum. He joined me for a bit of a chat on the live coverage. If you were tuned in, you may remember, or if you saw my story about this on Facebook the other day, but came to share the celebrations with James Williams, who took his first overall rally win on the Manx, and it was great to see the sportsmanship, but it was really upsetting to see just how crestfallen our reigning champion at that point was. He thought it was all over. A big fight back later, and here we are. A 2-time champion, the fastest man on asphalt in the UK for the 2nd year running. Howell Davies, Dorian Evans have had a busy few weeks. Just like me, Rally, Ceredigion, Woodpecker Rally, and then here over to Malvern for the Hills Ford stages for the crew in that blue Escort. And there's Phil Hopkins, Sam Allen in that battle with Richard Slinger over 6th place in the B14 championship class at the moment. If you missed any of the action from Rally Ceredigion, we leave the live coverage on our new platform, specialstage.tv, if you prefer a highlights package to talk you through the event and how it went. You can also go there and catch up with the latest Special Stage Rally show in association with the Mini Rally Challenge Barry Stevenson-Wheeler, John Bickervance, I spoke to them earlier in service, one of our historic crews here this weekend who were looking forward to the event, nice and relaxed. And the car, freshly prepared, look great. This is the Castle Morton Common stage. You're watching stages 1 and 2, crews slotted back in at 30-second intervals. As you see, Sean Quigley and Colin Quigley in that brand new to them Rally 2 car. Beautiful bit of kit. A similar livery to the R5 car, slight update that we saw from them earlier in the season. It's a good upgrade, isn't it? 1.85 miles the stage distance here. .7 miles then in total. Fair play. That was a committed line into the hairpin, wasn't it? Obviously saw all these spectators, didn't he, Tobias Adam? Ian Meakin alongside in that BDG engined Mark 1. Luckily no big arches on that car to wipe out on the bales, but believe you and me, those bales are not as soft as they look. Might have been soft on your Scalextric track as a kid, but they're not in real life. And there is Richard Slinger, Mark Twynham, twin army, Twynham. We never get it right the second time in a row. 5th in B14, 22nd overall coming into this round. Could improve with a maximum, make it to 3rd. Joe McKeown 1st, Nathan Bolton in the Clio, currently 2nd in the class at the moment. Paul Morris, you've seen the leaderboard, it's tight, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very tight. Unfortunately, Callum's had a bit of an issue. But yeah, very tight within the top 10, isn't it? So
I'm sure you're the man to drop him a message and find out what's gone on so you can update us while we're live on air. But at the moment, you've got a number of crews on identical times overall going into day 2. It's only 3.7 miles, so in a championship with the quality of the competition that we've had, you would expect them to be close. You wouldn't expect big gaps, but to have them on equal times going into day 2 is brilliant, isn't it?
yeah, it is, and it all bodes well for tomorrow, doesn't it? So
there's a big fight on dry, sunny lanes. The marshals getting a round of applause for rebuilding the chicane there and the hairpin. Dale Crosley, Robbie Hanna there. Another of the 2.5 litre escorts joining us in B13 and pitching their wits against our championship B13 crews. Morris, sorry, you were going to say something?
I just want to wish a couple of people attached to the championship well. They've both had surgery in the last few weeks, months. So that's Jonathan Stepney and Brynmore Pierce. Everyone at the Pro Tyre Championship sends them a full and speedy recovery.
Yes, if you see Oliver Hopkins and Ashley Trimble through the hairpin, yeah, I echo those words. And to David Appleby as well, who's recovering from surgery. Not one of our championship crews, but boy, do we love it when the historics join us and we get the TR7 V8 with Mark Higgins and Carl Williamson on these stages alongside our championship crews. Hello to everybody watching at home. In a little while, it's quite thick and fast, isn't it, when we've got 30-second intervals and crews coming at us. Trying to keep on top of the results as well, but I will try and get to some of your chats and comments wherever you're joining us on the live stream shortly. Richard Fishley, Jason McCulloch there, another of the B13 crews. And Carl Williamson, Speak of the Devil, should be up next alongside Howard Price. He's in the Mitsubishi Evo 9 this weekend. Like me, I think he's done just about every rally going this year. It's one of those things where it's like, hey, have you been at every rally I've been at, or have I been at every rally you've been at? And there is Nick Elsmore, who just takes a chunk of bale out on his way through. Again, a reminder, please do rewind and look about afterwards to that chat with Graham Elsmore, because that was a real privilege to be able to speak to Graham, a name that comes up all the time when I'm, as I do, tend to, reading and looking back through the archives in this sport. And some really fantastic stories. When he first got the call up to be a works driver, some of his battles with Roger Clark, underestimating Michel Mouton, just stories that put the hairs up on the back of your neck and leave you in no doubt whatsoever why you are such a nerd about this sport. Howard Price, Carl Williamson in the Evo 9, the B14 car, in what should be, or turn out to be, a bit of a battle over the next 10 stages with Phil Evans and Emma Cooper in this Evo 10. It's a great looking car. A I'll always remember when I see an Evo 10 go around a hairpin, and he just almost proved the point there. I always remember the 5th gear shootout between the Evo 10 and the Subaru STI. Tiffany Dell versus Jason Plato, and I think it was Plato in the Evo, was it? And he bogged down with the flappy pedal gearbox in the Evo 10. I just had a flashback then, watching that one bog down a little bit. There's Pete Elkins, Andrew Jolt in the Fiesta World Rally car. If you just tuned in as well, you will have missed my chat with head of rallies for Motorsport UK, John Jackson, who joined us for a bit of a chat. James Williams is back down here. He's been doing a bit of promo. Oh, so we just get all out of shape. And that is the way to drive a Mark II Escort. Ben Friend, Cliff Simmons, there's a reason they're British Historic Rally Champions, former. James Ross is out with Sam Toozle. I spoke to him, your co-driver, obviously, for anyone who doesn't know that. I spoke to him before the event, and he said he'd been working on pace notes with Sam, and becoming a bit more technical with the pace notes was important for Sam's development. You'll understand that as well.
Yeah, same for me. That's been a big change this year. Ross has helped me to sort of simplify my notes, if anything.
Steady, isn't he? He's so calm.
He is. I mean, you really have to do something to excite him. But he's a great asset to our team, and he's really helping my notes. So I'm sure Sam will benefit from that this weekend too.
Hold that thought. Another of our Jersey crews there, and someone I'm delighted to see back here. Ed Fossey, Gareth Parry in that Millington engine Satria. I saw it looking pristine. Sue Fossey sent me a picture of it before the rally, and she said, please make sure you cover them. And I said to her, Sue, you know, we cover all the crews when we're doing these live shows now. All the crews we're allowed to cover, eh, James? We've had some fun with that. And Gordon Morrison has been a quick boy in the B13s this year. James, I'm going to need a pair of those sunglasses of yours before long, my friend, because I was not expecting this to be as bright as it is. But those sunglasses get everywhere now.
Did you not get them from the Manx? Did you not bring them with you?
I gave them to Mason, who hasn't brought them with him either. But you have done a great job with the branding this year, and everyone's wearing your sunglasses.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's just it's a nice little touch to do, especially when we're marshalling tomorrow. So we're part of the Orange Army, and I brought a box of them. They're all gone, so I should have brought some more. But it's something special to do. So.
I love that you're part of the Orange Army, and you are the Orange Army on the stage as well. Mark Holmes, Mark Broadbent, a car that I've been looking forward to seeing through the stage. He only has a 2.5 litre engine in these days, not the 3 litre Goodman V6 it would have had to begin with. But I tell you what, a 6R4, and he comes out once a year in the hands of Mark Holmes. And every year he says he's retiring it, and then he goes, no, I'm taking it out. And I had a good look around that car earlier, and I filmed a little reel, actually, I'll share on Facebook soon. But what a car to see out, James.
Look at you and your content. Yeah, it's an amazing car to see out on the stages. I actually took Holmesy out to Norway with me in February, and he came into my driving, so he's a character for sure, and he drives that car very, very well. It's spectacular to watch.
Tim Freeman, David Paul Williams through the stage there in their Escort. James, what's next for you?
I'm not 100% sure yet. The car's looking a bit battle scarred at the minute, so we're going to try and get it back together as soon as we can. Potentially the Cambrian, maybe something in Europe instead. We're not sure yet. Yeah.
Tell us about your season and give me a bit of a summary appraisal as we see coming through the stage. The Fabia, Darren Morris, Steve Gully joining us for only really the second time, I think, this season we've seen them in that Fabia. James, give us an appraisal of your season, because this was a big one for you.
Yeah, a tough one, to be honest. We put it all on red, like you said. We got the Manx win, and we've had some fantastic results. I think it's been a little bit up and down, some unreliability, some mistakes on my side. But it's a 2-year plan for me. Next year is going to be our full attack. So we'll just regroup now and see if we can do another one before the end of the year and really have a good attack at it next year. So it's all learning, and we're getting stronger every event.
When James won the Manx this year, that was a moment that we all really enjoyed, and he's someone who's really gone big this year. Adam Mitchell, Thomas Pidden did Goodwood in a Lancia Delta. I bet they didn't get that all crossed up between the bales at Goodwood, but they've only been over at the ORC Canal Rally in Germany prior to this. Did the Dukeries, didn't they, with us at the beginning part of the year on our live coverage. Yeah, James Williams, when he won that rally at the Manx, first overall win, we all felt that with you. It was a big moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was huge for our team. I think it was a lot of pressure to get that overall victory, and it was lovely to get it and do it in a spectacular place such as the Manx and get my name on a historic trophy, and with you guys around it to film it. Brilliant.
Ben Crump showing how it should be done around that hairpin, and he's here looking for championship points. If you are looking to support a young up-and-coming driver who has visions beyond just UK rallying in the future, and I have no doubt after that stage win on the ERC, beating everybody on the first day with all the world's eyes on him, I think James Williams would be a man you might want to be teamed up with. What's big for you next year, and why should people get involved, James Williams?
Yeah, I mean, we're the exciting team, I think. We're doing things differently. We're working on our content, but for us, it's going to be a big year next year. We're going to try and enter as many championships as we can, some in the UK, some in Europe. It's about stepping up. It's about doing some bigger rallies and showcasing ourselves on an audience and a bigger spectrum of people. So if we can do that, we can get some fantastic support behind us to do it, and let's see, the sky's the limit.
We're very lucky to have some superstar drivers at the moment in UK Rally, and James is right up there with them all, and he would be very deserving of your support. He's doing big things, you could be as well. Thank you, James, for joining us for the third time in just as many years, actually, on our coverage, and second time in as many rallies as well. As you see, Matt Turner and Tom Bishop, who had an accident on the Legend Fires Northwest stages, but took a top 20 with us on the Tour of Epping. The spectators really getting into the pantomime feel here in his first stages. Dean Grimes, Mark Admans in the R5 Fiesta. By the way, there's no favouritism on my part. If you're a young up-and-coming driver and you want some support, we will always give you a plug on our coverage, because for us, sponsors are important and the future of our sport is important. But James Williams is someone who's done big things in the championship this year, took his first overall win, a win that we all very much enjoyed being a part of on the Manx this year. And I am personally very invested in watching his career progress, and I can't wait to see what comes next. Jez Bonens, Fiona Crump. I'm loving all of the tyre smoke down here at the hairpin. A balmy Saturday evening in the sunshine, tyre smoke, 11s left on the road from these fantastic rally cars, and nice variety on the entry list, along with a number of rally stars, new and old here. It's been a lovely night so far to open proceedings in the Hills Ford stages, and just as I mentioned the name of the rally, the man with his name above the door, whose son is doing a rally in the Rally 2 Fiesta we've seen Oshan Pricing that they've been sponsoring this year, this time out. There's Tim Hill, Paul Spooner alongside in the Fiesta Rally 3. A great family and a great business as well. Ford dealership. Remember when they sponsored the first running of what was then the Three Shires stages here when we were here? We had a big screen in the spectator area, and Hills Ford had a fantastic array of cars, including the new Focus ST, and I was very jealous. Couldn't stretch to one at the time, but they put on a good show. Andy Gwynn, Catland alongside, and I did say to him, he's one of the most sideways people I've ever known. I went in the car with Andy on a shakedown for the Widine back in 2010, I think it was, in his Saxo kit car. That's the C2. It's an F2 Max, but this year's only got for this rally, he's only got a standard engine from the scrapyard, because the engine blew on the last rally, so it's got a standard 206 GTI 180 engine in. There's Jake Smith and Dave Tortoshell and the Escort chasing them down after that stall at the hairpin. So Andy Gwynn telling me that it's only got a very standard engine in, but I'm sure it will still be just as sideways as you saw there. He's just started, by the way, a new tarmac test venue for anyone who is coming out next year and wants somewhere to test. You're not limited to just Shaw's Vineyard. I think there's a few asphalt test venues. Well, here's another one of them. gwynspeed.co.uk is where you need to be to look at that. It's based in Gloucester, and I did say I'd give it a mention. Might be handy to some of you. There's Andy Brinkley, Helena Mail, bringing the soundtrack of that 3 litre. It will be one at M3 to the stages. I spoke to Helena earlier. She said she was ready and looking forward to it. Alan Wellesby, Zach Lynham in the Mark II there, in the B11 car. Gonna flick back to the results. It's pleasingly, actually, it's always busy on these events, but at the moment, Mark Kelly, Will Atkins lead overall overnight, 8 seconds ahead of Sam Chilsell, Ross Whittaker, who are on an identical time to Roger Duck with Alan Cook, but also, get this, Darren Atkinson and Harry Stubbs in 4th place overall, identical overall time into the overnight halt before 8 stages tomorrow on these formidable lanes that have been the star of many a road rally in the Motoring News Championship in the 70s and 80s over the years. Neil Roskell, Di Roberts in 5th, with Steve Wood and Kenny Hill on an identical time to them in 6th place. Will Hill, Richard, Morton Crozier getting to grips with that Rally 2 car very quickly on his second back in 7th. Hugh James, Lewis Sim, the second of our 2-wheel drive cars, but we're back in the order we expect, or it did at least before they upset things at Ceredigion. As you see, Roger Taylor and Paul Bevan nicely sideways through the hairpin here. So Hugh James, Lewis Sim on an identical time to Will Hill. That's a remarkable time from the second of the two-wheel drive and second of the B13 Escorts in the top 10. Phil Hopkins, Sam Allen. These are overall top 10, by the way, not just championship. Phil Hopkins, Sam Allen in 9th place. Then it's Roger Moran, Dan Petrie rounding out the top 10 at this point. Oh, we've got a chance to see just how soft those and forgiving those hay bales are. Do you know what? They're not too bad, are they? Or straw bales, I should say. Farmers will be tutting at me saying hay bales, but you catch them wrong and they're not very forgiving. Luckily, those ones were for Ben Williams and Andrew Sankey. But that's a horrible moment. You're heading down, you've locked up the brakes, and you head into the bales, knowing you're going to have a thump. How hard will that thump be? As it turns out, it wasn't too bad, but we've got some action down here, haven't we? Everyone's looking at those tyre marks on the road, thinking that's where they should be braking. Howell Davies, Dorian Evans have managed to get themselves through successfully the last two rallies, Rally Ceredigion, Woodpecker stages. They don't want it to end in the hay bales here on the second stage of the night for them. At the Hills Ford stages, which if you just tuned in is what you are watching. I'm Paul Woodford, this is special stage, and we are live for both stages tonight, stages 3 and 10 tomorrow, and we're delighted to be out for this final round of the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. There's Stefan Morris, Mark Ammons alongside in the Mark II. At the moment, in Class B11, these are not final times. We've only had a portion of the entry through the second stage, of course. As you see, Baz Wheeler and John Pickervance in the historic RS 1800 through. These are not by any means final, but just to give you an idea of the leaderboards, Jez Bourdain, Fiona Crump, currently leading the way in B11, but again, identical time at the moment. This is Josh Evans, Rhys Edwards behind them. Alan Wellesby, Zach Lynham haven't done their second run through the stage just yet. That's what I mean about not being able to give you a full look at things just yet. Jeff Phelps, Colin Jenkins giving us a 360 view almost of that Mark on into the bales there. But I will just have a look at some of the classes and have a look how they're shaping up. Class B13 we can give you a fairly good rundown of, can't we? Darren Atkinson, Harry Stubbs at the moment 4th overall. Remarkable pace from them through these first two, but then that is why they're B13 champions and why they are 3rd overall in the championship. Safely so coming into this. Tobias Adam, Ian Meakin laying down some 11s in front of the photographers there. The spectators here at the hairpin in this first and second stage, loving that. Some people camped out for the evening, deck chairs at the ready. I can even smell the smell of barbecues. And somehow a barbecue on a rally smells far better than a barbecue anywhere else. The sight and sound of Group A. And we're looking forward to a bit more of that as we embrace Group A going forward. I said at the beginning of this year, 2014, 10 years behind myself. 2020, I wish I was. I'd be getting on for being 30, not 40. Group A, 2024 is the year of the Group A rally car, and Motorsport UK confirmed it for us with those additions to the regulations and the changes to the class structure coming in for next year. Richard Slinger, Mark Twynham locking up the wheels and giving us a show. And another man giving us a show, not just on the stages, but also on the recce, as Alan Marrow's there with Kevin Lane alongside in the B11 Escort. They do their recce's in an Escort Cosworth recce car. It's a proper one. It's a small turbo. The small turbos were more refined. If you're a nerd like me, you'll know. Better road car, but harder to modify. They did their own ECU. A few other modifications to the Cosworth engine as well, to the oil and the cooling systems, to make them a better all-round road car. Perfect for a recce, and he does recce as well. And I love that. Dale Crosley, Robbie Hanna alongside. If you look on my Facebook profile, I shared a photo of their Escort Cosworth recce car at Rally Ceredigion, and it's just a story I love, as is this one actually. One of my favourite rally cars is a Toyota Corolla GT, the AE86. George Hayway's car has got a problem with the electrics. That's why it didn't start Ceredigion. And that problem has been traced to the wiring loom. So the most complicated part of the electrics, of course. So Paul De Bono, the co-driver this weekend, has lent George his car, which is a fantastic gesture, and it means we get to see an AE86 at all angles, hopefully out on the stages, as it belongs. And there they were. Richard Fishley, Jason McCulloch through for their second run through. So back to the B13 fight. Darren Atkinson, Harry Stubbs, 2 seconds ahead of Hugh James and Lewis Sim, who are 4th and 8th on the overall leaderboard at the moment, respectively. Oliver Davies, Jack Bowen behind them. And it's only 5 seconds the difference. But they're 14th on the overall leaderboard, showing just how close it is in the top 20 at the moment. A few seconds makes all the difference. 2 stages in to this Hills Forward stages. Crew's giving it a big push, aren't they? Through here, Mike Simpson, Dale Gibbons, really pushing that RS 1800 into the hairpin here. You can see the car really just lurching on the brakes and throwing its weight here into the hairpin. Looked lovely, sounded amazing. You could see and hear that. The only thing I can't bring you at home is how good it smelt, and it really did smell special. They all do. That's the one thing that if you haven't been out to watch a rally for a while, I hope we inspire you to do that. It's great you can join us at home, but nothing beats being stateside. Plenty of opportunities to do that in the next few weeks. We've got the track rod coming up on the 28th of September in Yorkshire for the penultimate round of the Pro Tyre BTRDA. As you see, Steve Hollis in the V6 engine Golf hasn't had a lot of luck with reliability this season so far. Tim Curry alongside Jason Stone, Daniel Stone chasing them down in that BMW compact in the 2.5 litre B13 car, chasing the 3 litre B14 Golf down through this first stage for both of them. Here we've got the track rod coming up. We've also got the Historic Rally Festival. Howard Price, Carl Williamson through for their second run through the stage in the Evo 9. So the Historic Rally Festival this season has 2 new stately home venues in the Telford area, as well as a number of closed road stages as well. Warner Lewis and the team have done a fantastic job of putting together a very different looking Historic Rally Festival, the only place in the UK where you can see the variety that they bring out to the stages of Group B, Group A, historic WRC cars, driven on proper stages by proper drivers. Tom Jones, Andy Kuiper there, down in 14th in class in B14 in that Subaru. No full championship campaign from this year, but we did see them on the Manx and on the Tour of Epping. Here they are at the final round, making it 3. Will it be 3 finishes from 3 here in the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship? We will see. Yeah, 5th and 6th of October is the Historic Rally Festival. Go to historicrallyfestival.com. That is where you can find all the details, including the star drivers, Di Llewellyn, Louise Aiken-Walker, and somebody very, very special, former WRC driver who I can't announce just yet, will be joining us, and in the car, I hope, that weekend, along with another selection of well-heeled drivers and incredible, iconic cars from the Group B, Group A, historic and WRC eras of the sport. A great place for you to experience those smells I was telling you about. Ed Fossey, Gareth Parry in the Millington-engined Satria. I didn't see their time through from the first stage, actually, so let's have a look and see where they dropped in. There's a 154 from them, a second ahead of the Evo 9 of Howard Price. And they were 4 seconds faster than Tim Hill, Paul Spooner in the B14 Rally 3 Fiesta on their first run through. But a second slower than their second run through. We expect to see Ed Fossey and Gareth Parry improve their time, though, through the second running of this stage. There's Anthony Allery, Richard Bonner. 13th in class, having only joined us for the Manx this year. There's a decent run through for them on day 1, which was round 2. The Manx, a double point scoring round here in the 2024 season. Listen to that. the sound of Group B. Maybe not technically, but it's about as close as you're going to get. And we love it. Mark Holmes, Mark Broadbent. Last time we saw that 6R4 was on Clacton last year. Didn't personally see it. If you did, it was a short-lived return to the stages. Only comes out about once a year these days. It retired with radiator issues. Looking forward to seeing it on tomorrow's stages as well. Some very tight, naturey lanes. It will look quite spectacular weaving its way through there with the Rally 2 cars and various other historic and interesting modified cars we have on the entry this weekend. As you see Adam Mitchell and Thomas Pidden through the stage. First outing for them in the championship in B14 in the Evo 9. See how they measure up against our B14 crews as the anti-lag is in full swing on that Evo 9 in the distance. But it was on the Group A Delta Integrale they took to Goodwood as well. Looking forward to seeing more cars like that out next year with this hopefully renaissance of Group A with the changes to the regulations and the class structure from Motorsport UK. There's Ian Skip, Tim Skip alongside in the historic Escort. If you tuned in thinking what has gone on, summer had left us here in the UK, is back. Maybe for one weekend only, but we'll take it. Matt Turner, Tom Bishop for their second run through the stage. Top 20 on the Tour of Epping. Very flamboyant through here. Nick Elmore drop in front of Howard Price and Carl Williamson. 7th place in B14 in that Evo 9. Don't see many outings these days from Nick, but it does go well when we do. Former Welsh champion and from a very well-heeled rally family. There's Simon Hunter, Howard Pridmore alongside. Now, Howard already B9 co-driver champion. Will Mains, the only driver who would have been able to challenge Simon had he started the rally this weekend. There's Darren Paul and Chris Beer, who are 8th in B10 and could make their way through the class leaderboard a little bit today, but not with mistakes like that. Simon Hunter then likely to be B9 champions, but Simon does need to score a maximum, and then he'll take in maximum points all year. He doesn't need to score the maximum in order to take the class title, but 90 points, top score on the board, would be a very impressive year indeed. I tell you what, the front-wheel drive boys are working those diffs hard and giving us a good old showing here at the hairpin in his first stage of the night, aren't they? Neville Hood, Josh Agar-Baker in the B10 over there, the 1600 car, doing his very best to give the shafts a workout on the Castle Morton Common hairpin. And we're watching a section of stage as well, just before the hairpin. There's Berwyn Evans, Ivan Devine, who is our junior co-driver champion here in the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship this season. Congratulations to Ivan, last year's two-wheel drive Welsh champion co-driver as well, so really clocking up the silverware, filling up that mantelpiece in the last couple of years with his rallying. Congratulations to Ivan, a fantastic result for him. Andy Gwynn, Cat Lund will be hoping for a better run through here this time. There we go. Andy hasn't quite got the power he's normally got underneath him with that scrapyard rescued engine, the stock 206 180 GTI engine, the 2-litre engine in front of that C2 F2 Max, as he self-titles the car. But did a better job of it that time around, didn't he? He won't care. He'll have had fun the first time. John Morgan, Linus Jones-Edwards in the historic RS 1800. How good does that sound? Just wailing off into the distance. Got some interesting cars coming up for you. The historic rally car register challenge is here. with minis. Whoa, there we go. That's how we do it. Got some great variety in the HRCR challenge as well. Looking forward to bringing you some of those crews through. As you saw, Alan Welsby and Zach Lynham, who are at the moment fighting for a top spot in the B11 class. Simon Dalton, Ryan Jones in the Group N Impreza. Another crew getting it locked up. The trouble is, when crews are laying the tyre marks down with late braking, you come into the braking zone, you see the tyre marks on the floor, and sometimes it's easy enough to judge your braking by those tyre marks. Easy, but not necessarily advisable. A great time then from Ed Fossey and Gareth Parry. I was watching their times come through. 4th in B14 at the moment. It might end that way as well. Andy Brinkley, Helena Mail will be happier this time. Bit of a neater way around the hairpin and getting that straight 6 being another UM3 engine. But it's little butterflies chomping at the air, singing in the balmy Saturday evening sunshine here in Malvern. For the Hills forward stages. There's Ian Barclay with Charlotte McGlashan alongside in the Evo 9. This is Charlotte's first UK rally. 17 years old, she celebrated her 17th birthday competing on Rally Barbados earlier in the year. So good luck to Charlotte on her. She was a bit nervous ahead of her first rally. I sent her a good luck message, and I know that Mark Chandler, Dad, was looking forward to seeing how they got on. Ian switching from an Evo 6 to that Evo 9. He also rallies a Darien T90 GTR. A number of crews bringing their Barbados, Rally Barbados suntan with them to the Hills Ford stages this weekend. There's Roger Taylor, Paul Bevan for their second run through the stage. So we've got Hillman Imps, Chrysler Sunbeams, Mark III rear-wheel drive Astras, Vauxhall Novas, and boy have we got a Vauxhall Nova for you coming up. It's in works colours. It is glorious. There's Rob Asler, Ashley Asler alongside in their B14 Impreza. We've got Mark II RS 2000s. We've got a selection of Mini Cooper S's in the HRCI Challenge. Avengers coming up, Peugeot 106 Maxi. We're bringing the Formula 2 vibe to the lanes tonight. Loads to look forward to, and we'll be live throughout the entry through these first couple of stages. There's Stefan Morris, Mark Ammons alongside in the Mark II. It is a real privilege to be surrounded by spectators here at the hairpin in this first of the day's stages, and second indeed for some of the crews. Phil Hopkins, Sam Allen leading the way in B14, and as things stand, John Indry, Tony Hewitt behind them, and they're only 3 seconds behind with Oliver Hopkins and Ashley Trimble on an identical, sorry, they're 5 seconds behind with John Indry and Oliver Hopkins on an identical time overall going into the overnight halt. It is very, very close. In the B15 class, not the overall positions, Sam Toozle leads the way. As you see, Matt Wheeler, Robbie Sanford, fresh from his Motorsport UK Academy co-driver gig with M Sport on Rally Acropolis, locking up the C2 into the hairpin here. Sam Toozle, Ross Whittock then leading the way in B15, 1 second ahead of Neil Roskell, Di Roberts, who are here to challenge for an overall victory. Nothing else will do. Steve Wood, Kenny Hull, likewise And just a second behind. It's deja vu for Jeff Phelps and Colin Jenkins, but they noticed the bail just far enough out of reach that it didn't have to cause them a problem as they got it wrong in the same way. On this second run through this opening 1.85 mile stage. William Hill, Richard Crozier just a second behind. B15 then at the moment. 6 seconds separating the top 5. 1 second separating the top 3. You're getting the idea, right? It is close here going into day 2. Alan Marriage, Kevin Lane getting the hairpin just right this second time around. And we're going to be live with you for the first stage of the morning as well to make sure that we accompany your breakfast with some live rally action as we get the action back underway. We'll be live at about 8:30 tomorrow morning, which means an awfully early start for us. Do me a favour and join us for the live coverage from stage 3, won't you? There's Lee Griffith, Chris Whittle alongside in the 106-1600. It sounds well, doesn't it, that is revving high. It's got to have a Cup car ECU in that, maybe throttle bodies. Certainly sounds the part. And there's George Hayway, Paul De Bono alongside in the AE86. Which, unlike George's car, actually, of a treat, has got the 4AGE engine in, which was basically a 1600 twin cam that was almost a revised BDA. Followed the same principles and was known as being the modern day or up-to-date Mark I Escort in terms of the car's layout, in terms of that engine spec. There's rumours that the engine was even modelled on the BTRD, on the BDA as well, got BTRD in the mind. And there he is. I told you we would have some Formula 2 action for you. There's Ben Wilkinson, Andrew Wilkinson alongside in their 106 Maxiels. Talking to someone about that 106 Maxi earlier, and when they had the 106 Cup car, they used to bounce it off every single thing they could on a rally. I used to compete against them on some rounds. They got in that 106 Maxi and magically reined it in, something to do with the value and rarity of the arches on those Formula 2 kit cars, I'm sure. Mike Simpson, Dale Gibbons alongside. Goodness me, I hope we can get a really strong crop of Group A, and, well, Group A of all kinds. Of course, Group A does cover the Formula 2 cars, but I really hope we can get a really strong crop of Group A cars out next season and build towards something very special as the sport enjoys what Europe have had for a while, and some iconic cars out in works liveries would be great. Jason Harris, Stuart Powell and their great looking 1600 Peugeot 106. It'll be interesting to see how the battle of the 106s pans out. Andrew Stokes, Johnny Tad Evans joining us for a rare outing on asphalt in the historic spec Mark 1A. Talking of iconic cars, certainly in our terms, and indeed in BTRDA terms, a very iconic, poignant car to see out. Of course, it was David Stokes' car originally. So in the B9 class at the moment, Simon Hunter, Howard Pridmore doing exactly what they came here to do. It is a great sounding and a remarkably good looking car, isn't it? Steve Hollis's Golf. Just hope for him and Tim Curry that manages to keep it running this weekend. So Simon Hunter, Howard Pridmore, pretty much got it all their own way as far as the championship crews are concerned this weekend, but they need maximum scores, so they've got to score to make their season tally 90 points. A maximum score altogether. That will be some result for them, and it's what they're aiming for as well. Clive King, Anton Bird, the first of our historic Mini Cooper S's. I love that these asphalt events are encouraging with the historic rally car register challenge. They're encouraging these historic minis out. We don't have proper as I would term a proper rally mini, although the mini rally challenge guys put on plenty of entertainment. It's really nice to see the original minis out competing, isn't it? We've got a couple of mini rally challenge competitors out with us actually this weekend. Jason Stone, Dan Stone in the BMW Compact, not having to chase anyone down here on their second run through the stage. So Simon Hunter, Howard Pridmore at the moment leading the way. No times in for any of their B9 competitors as we speak. We're looking for quite a few fantastic looking cars, including Dominic Hoystem, an absolutely beautiful, and I mean beautiful, Nissan Micra. Another of the kit cars here this weekend is Barry Connolly, Clive Olverd in the Mark 1 RS 2000, that Olympic blue historic car with the all too familiar RS 2000 side stripes and bonnet stripes. Looks absolutely glorious in the sunshine, doesn't it? Let's face it, it would look glorious whatever the weather was doing, but sunshine helps. Tom Jones, Andy Conover joining us for their third outing this season, having been out on the Manx, technically the fourth outing if you count the 2 rounds of the Manx, and Tour of Epping, and looking for a good run in their Subaru. Clive King, Anton Bird, we saw them through just now, waiting for a time from them. They'll be followed by Les Alfrey, Keith Fellows and Shane Gamble and Julia Perry in the H1 class on the entry. And there's a car we love to see. Steve Powell, Jamie Hawkins. So we come into this final round of the championship. The championship is sewn up overall. There are still some championship positions to settle, but I want to know, what are your predictions? What do you think is going to happen? Who are you rooting for out there on the stages? Have you got a class prediction? Have you got an overall prediction for us? Tell us, because I tell you what, all you've got to do, as you see Anthony Allery and Richard Bonner getting it wrong here at the hairpin, all you've got to do to be within a chance, in with a chance of winning one of the Rallying is Life Lombard RAC styled special stage rally TV t-shirts, all you've got to do is comment on whichever of the live shows you're watching, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube or specialstage.tv, or indeed Motorsport UK TV. Just comment on the live stream. Tell us what you think the top 3 will be. Tell us who you're rooting for, who you're watching at home, who you're following. All you got to do is get involved, because that was the plan. Dan Elmore and Rallying His Life teamed up with us to, well, get you guys more involved in the coverage. All you've got to do is comment. You just tell us where you're watching from if you're not sure on who's going to come top 3. Tony Rendell, Glyn Thomas in their Mark 1. It's a B10 class car, and that is the car I was talking about. Look at that. It could be Dave Metcalf. It isn't. Well, it couldn't be, could it, for obvious reasons, but, you know, depending on what year we were in, you'd believe it. Justin Brooks, Dan Evans in that beautiful Nova GSI, and it really is beautiful. It's as good up close as it looks on the stage in full works livery, and just little details set that car off. And it really caught my imagination as a cheer from the spectators here as Ian Skip and Tim Skip store the car at the hairpin. The spectators getting into the spirit of the occasion and the atmosphere down here in this first stage of the night. Is brilliant. This is the Castle Morton Common stage. Petit France leads the way in the morning, a 7.2 mile stage. You see Steve Chaplin and Rich Suter entertaining the crowd in that 2-litre P11 Escort. So Petit France comes your way at just after 8:30 tomorrow morning. We'll be live for that one, which will be stage 3. Red Marley after that. Really big road rally. Roads, by the way, on Ross Trader, the Welsh Marches, the Hereford Evening News rally from the 70s and the 80s. Famous lanes, and they'll be doing us proud in the morning. Simon Hunter, Howard Pridmore there on their way, they hope, to a maximum score for the year of 90 points, which will be one heck of an achievement Yep, so Petit France first. Red Marley, a 4.2 mile stage after that. Then it's the just over 5 mile stage of Oakle Green. Before we go to Hole in the Wall and Markall Hill. And then we do it all again in the afternoon. 12 stages making up the Hills 4 Stages Rally this year. 2 tonight, 10 tomorrow. Tim Phelps, Matt Rogers, and their escort. We don't normally have such a relaxed start to the day as we had today, with the stages starting later in the day, so we ended up in the service, which was nice actually. And it meant that we could just enjoy a bit of atmosphere earlier in the day from our crews. I'll tell you what, Neville Hood and Josh Agger-Baker will be delighted that Neil Roskell moved those bales out of the way for them earlier on. Watch back if you didn't see that, because he, you can see he did it on purpose. He didn't. He took the same line through. I bet Di was inside the car saying, "Well, you've nudged it out of the way now, so you may as well make the most of it and carry your speed." And the next stage through, and they're just lucky that the marshals hadn't managed to put it back. Hello to Julia Perry, who's watching with us, probably in the start line, waiting to go. There's Berwyn Evans, Van Devine, Howard Junior, co-driver champion alongside. Alan Kirkcaldy says the weather's looking perfect, good looks all. Andrew Shears is cheering on Dan Petrie. Didi, sorry. Good luck to car 73, Neville Hood, you just saw them through. That's her son. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Jamie Forrest wishing good luck to Ben and Andrew Wilkinson and little 106 Maxi. Elwyn Pritchard says congratulations to Van Devine. He's not bad behind the wheel of a road rally Saxo either, fair play. It's road rally country this, and the championship is full of road rally drivers and navigators. There's Ron Morgan, Sean Jones in that historic spec. 1800 Escort. We spoke to one of the most famous road rally drivers and indeed stage rally drivers of them all, especially in this neck of the woods. Ex-Works driver, legend Graham Ellsworth. What a privilege. John Morgan, there's Linus Jones Edwards alongside him in the historic RS 1800. Murray Evans is wishing good luck to Berwyn Evans, who you just saw through. You've just seen him through the stage, Mary. That's your dad in the car. Alistair Flack enjoying the coverage. Hello to you. Elwyn Pritchard referring to the chat we had with up-and-coming driver who won the Manx this year, James Williams. Looking forward to him repeating his win on the Manx next year. Their campsite's already booked, so they're all in on that one. They're putting it all on red, just like James Williams is. Simon Dalton, Ryan Jones for their second run through the stage here. Jeremy Rally Life is watching from Ypres in Belgium. Beautiful cars indeed. Beautiful part of the world, especially if you're a rally driver. Christopher Ridge is cheering on Stefan Ringo, Morris and Mark William Ammons. As you see, Ian Barkley and Charlotte McGlashan through for their second run through the stage. So Stefan Morris and Mark Ammons had the gearbox out before the start of stage one. He says, get at it, boys. Wow. That's a tough start to the weekend, isn't it? Hello to David Bonning, who's joined us on the coverage and will be joining us at the Historic Rally Festival in a few weeks' time on the 5th and 6th of October in his glorious Repsol Escort World Rally car. There's Rob Astlett through for his second run through the stage. David Wright tuning in, joining us here on the coverage. Hello to you, one of our Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship competitors as well, with Jane Nichol alongside. Shame we haven't got you out here at the last round, but I'm sure we'll see you out before long. There's a car which, on last year's Manx Rally, won the best presented car, and rightly so. 2016 B11 champ Jeff Glover, Keith Parker alongside in the rear wheel drive and immaculately prepared, very tasty Mark III Astra. David Bonning is wishing luck to Matt Wheeler, Robbie Sanford in the Citroen C2. See them from their second run through the stage shortly. He's watching from Holland, actually. There's David. DMB Graphics. We're talking about how car liveries and graphics have moved on. There's a man who'll know. DMB Graphics provided stickers for my Fords going back to when I was a youngster, probably 20 years ago. Mick Johnson, Peter Piers there. Do you remember we had cut vinyl stickers everywhere on cars, didn't we, when we were into our cars back then? Daniel Johns wishing good luck to the Wellmans in car 94 in the Fiesta. Nicely done there. Ryan Wilding, Clive Jones in the 1400 Nova. We'll get a look at the leaderboards to see how they're shaping up very shortly. Rick Shaw says it's great coverage, as always. Lovely weather you're having. Shorts again, Mr. Woodford. I haven't got shorts on, but some of the crew have got shorts on. Luke Watts joining us, Mummy's little squirt. I hear he's planning a wedding, or so I was told by the Slinger crew earlier. Mark Twynham has even sorted out the dress code and negotiated the rate for the evening do at the restaurant, allegedly. Alex Roscoe, Stephen Roscoe there through, changing the subject strategically. He's been rallying this Micra since 2018. Came 7th in class on the Tour of Epping this year in that little Micra as well. And there you go. There's Matt Wheeler and Robbie Sanford. Mentioned them a few minutes ago. Dave Bonning looking to see them. Naomi Wilding giving a message of support on the live stream, on the comments for Ryan Wilding that we just saw through. And wow, he did keep it lit, didn't he? Rob Fagg joining us. Rob in the hunt for second overall in the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship co-drivers title hunt. However, having partnered with Championship runner-up Neil Roskell last time out in Rally Ceredigion, replacing Di Roberts for the rally, didn't manage to get a co-driver's seat here at this round. Gutted not to have you out with us, Rob, but you have been a formidable competitor this season, as you have every season previous. Former Works co-driver from the Isle of Man, who really should have been here, and we hope to see him back out next year. It was with Hugh Hunter for the earlier rounds in the championship. There's Chris Woodcock, Heidi Woodcock, clerk of the course for the Manx earlier in the year, coming over here to England to do the Hills Ford stages and have some fun all of his own. Fantastic couple, life and soul of the sport, and it's great to see them out in the car in that little Proton Satria. There's David Turner and James Turner in the Mark II. On the entry list it says they've got 0cc. It's clearly an electric car, one of these cars in the electric class that John Jackson was talking about earlier. There's one of the cars that I was talking about earlier, the Micra kit car of Dominic Hodge, Stefan Art. 2016, I think it was, Rally first champions in the Pro Tyre BTRDA. They now do events in the Nissan Micra Challenge. We last saw them actually on the, was it the Down Rally in Northern Ireland? Saw it last year as Paul Morris sidles over. Paul Morris, I'm not going to ask you that, don't shrug at me. I'm going to ask you if you can give us any sniff of what we can expect from next year's calendar. Are you going to give us a scoop as you see Lee Griffiths and Chris Whittle on the lever, and maybe a bit too much lever, and he's sending it off into the inside of the hairpin there and carrying quite a lot of speed through. Can you give us any hint whatsoever, Paul? You're going to give me a politician's answer, aren't you? I'm still going to make you do it.
I can't. The calendar's gone into Motorsport UK. That's all confidential until it's agreed from them.
Is it good?
Oh, it will be. It's a Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Championship.
There was only ever going to be one answer to that, wasn't there? But I let him give it. Mark Butler, Paul Hode alongside for their first run through the stage in the Mark II RS 2000. Ben Williams wishing good luck to Richard Stepney and Alan Din in the new car. And they are in checks notes. An RS 1600. Wouldn't mind a go by any of those cars, but particularly an RS 1600. But oh, look at that, nicely done from Ben Wilkinson there. Andrew alongside. Do you know what? My son Mason on the way here asked me if I had money was no object, what car would I like to do one of these rallies in? And it would have to be an F2 car. It'd have to be a car like that, 106 Maxi or an Ibiza. Maybe I'll ask Gwyndaf Evans if I could borrow his Ibiza Formula 2 car or something like that. I've got a friend who's got a Megane F2 car. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? It's in Belga colours. It looks resplendent. Paul Morris, what would you like to do a rally in most of all if money was no object?
For pure fun factor, Group 4 BDG Mark II Escort.
There we go. They sat in a few of them and all. Les Alfrey, Keith Fellows alongside in that glorious little historic Mini. We've got a few of those to go. Straight cut gearbox, RC40 exhaust winding down the stage. And that little 106 of Jason Harris. Stuart Powell has been put through its paces so far, hasn't it? Their second run here through the stage. I'll give you a rundown from the leaderboards, from the class leaderboards in a short while. We should have a bit more to tell you once we have some more of our B9 1400 class competitors too. Hello to Simon Jones joining the coverage, Jamie McBain as well, Andy Reid. There's Andrew Stokes, Johnny, Tad Evans, getting it right this time. Didn't quite get it right the first time through, but we'll give him that. Paul Richardson's enjoying the coverage. Fiona Scarrett and himself couldn't make this year's event due to engine problems. Gutted for you. I bet that sad smiley doesn't do half the job, does it? Colin Rowe Jones is watching as well. Remember, anybody commenting, even just stick an emoji in the stream, whatever, share the stream, get involved somehow. You automatically go into a draw to win one of our Rallying is Live Rally TV t-shirts. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, because I'm not over it yet. I can't even get one. You can't buy them. You can't get one even with inside knowledge. And even Dan Elmore won't give me one at mates rates. You have to comment on the stream and you have to win the draw. It's as simple as that. Every live show that we're doing this year, every live rally, we're giving one away. So do get involved. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us where you'll be watching from tomorrow. Andrew O'Hanlon, Kevin Hogan, one of the historic minis joining us. There's Clive King and Anton Bird in there. Ben Williams says car 109 was a 5-day rebuild and buying the car, getting it into the workshop, logbooks and out for the event. The crew at Unit 6 Motorsport got the job done. We're going to see that lovely RS 1600 through very shortly. Looking forward to that. Fair play. Thanks for letting me know, Ben. It's always good to have these little snippets of information to bring the story to life for you when you're watching at home. And there is that beautiful Mark I RS 2000, one of my ultimate road cars. I think it would have to be a Mexico, for the part in the story that Mexico played in shaping what was to come next for Ford in rallying terms, and indeed in road car terms. But yeah, a Mark I Escort road car is one of my dreams. There's Shane Gamble with regular Mini Rally Challenge competitor Julia Perry. She's out with her dad on the Woodpecker last weekend in the Vauxhall Nova. He'd watched her on the Woodpecker over the years competing, and she used to watch him as a kid and come out on rallies when he was competing, and they did their first rally together on the Woodpecker. It didn't go completely to plan, but having got problems before the start of the first stage, they managed to get going, and it was just one of those lovely stories that makes you feel good about the sport. Nice to see Julia out in a historic Mini. Let's do a bit in historics as well as in the Mini Rally Challenge, which is our special stage rally show sponsor for this year. You may know Stephen Powell, Jamie Hawkins there, bringing some variety, and as far as I'm concerned, one of the biggest smiles of the day to the rally entry in the H2 1600 Avenger. There's Nigel Hall, Christopher Barrow. Nice puff of smoke. on the gear change there. I'm waiting for that to waft down here to the spectator area where we're positioned with the crowd. Smell of, well, it won't be Castrol but as good as now. Best we'll get anyway. Tony Rendell, Glyn Thomas in the Mark 1. We'll be live right through this first and second stage very shortly. Daniel John says, good luck to the Wellmans in car 94, fresh build Fiesta. Let's say M Sport ST Plus. Interesting choice of phrasing. What makes it an ST Plus? Daniel, I'd like to know. Stuart Cameron, Guy Whittington there in the Clio Cup. I'm surprised we haven't got more Clio Cups out there. Cost effective to buy. There's plenty of modifications out there from them. They do go well even straight out of the box. And could be quite the challenger in B13 with a few choice mods and perhaps even straight out of the box as well. 180 horsepower front wheel drive with a nice diff in it. I took a few pictures of that Nova in the service area. I'll share them on Facebook for you, but it is such a car. Beautifully turned out. Dan Evans shouted, do you want to buy it? And the answer came, yes, I would. I'm not sure Mrs. Woodford would like me to buy it though, so better not. There are, as we see quite a lot of at the moment, some nice escorts out, and at the moment Jeremy Harris, Alexandra Harris, just wanted to give us a view of all corners and sides of that one. There's nothing worse, you get down to the hairpin, there's tons of spectators and you get it wrong. Cursing yourself inside your helmet. Steve Chaplin, Rich Suter for their second run through the stage. Got some nice cars and some nice stories coming up on the entry for you as well. Volvo 244 with a WRC story, no less. An FIA story as well. Looking forward to telling you that story, but I'll wait for the cars to come through. We've got a tiger striped Chevette coming up as well, which is very interesting. And there, bringing a bit of variety in the, I think the Bowler Defender 90 TD5s. It is Andrew Graham, Gavin Neat.
Local driver, and he actually competed on this year's Dakar Classic in that vehicle.
That's one of the Bowler cars then, isn't it? So, nice bit of info there from Mr. Morris, our championship coordinator. Will be so for the next 10 stages, after which someone else will be picking up the baton. There is Richard Stepney, Alan Ginn in that. It says Escort RS 1600, but it's not. But Ben Williams said they spent 5 days building from picking the car up. Had to get logbooks and built in 5 days, and now it is the rally. Congratulations, guys. The car looks nice. Jamie McBain's trying to sell me his 205 Maxi now. No, Mrs. Woodford wouldn't like that one either. Believe me. I'm sure she'd love it. She'd think it was lovely, but not if it turned up on the driveway.
Surely.
Oh, there we are. We're off and rolling with the Paul Woodford bingo now. I don't mind, you can insult the clan if you like, Paul, because that gives me an excuse to talk about Clan Crusaders, and I don't think there's been a live broadcast yet where we haven't, so I really think we've turned the cameras off. Alex Kirk Willie, Sasha Herriot in the 1600 course. That sounds well, doesn't it? Pulling all the revs out here on this opening stage. Andy Armstrong, hello to you. Alison Toozle joining us as well. Flying Jersey flag in the comments. Daniel John says, have a look at Wellman rallying for more pictures of the car. I want to know what the spec is. I'll scroll up to see if you said something. Have you given us an idea of the spec in that ST Plus car? You see Ron Morgan and Sean Jones for their second one. Pav English is watching with us. Okay, so Daniel John says it's an original ST Challenge car. It's got a few more bits and a bit more oomph. Yeah, I know. I want to know what other bits and what gives it the more oomph. They're not most tunable cars. I've got one actually. Or Mason has the car. He's learning to drive one in a Fiesta ST. Fantastic cars, even as road cars. One of the most fun, chuckable cars you can have on the road. There's Charlie Wright, Adam Westerby. They've got some miles underneath them in the championship this season. They've done Ceredigion before this. Jim Clark, Rally Nuts in the Pro Tyre BTRDA Championship on gravel. Best result so far this season, though, wasn't on a full-stage rally. It was 4th in class on the Groom's Garage Sweet Lamb time trial. This is one of the best prepared cars on the rally, and I say that wholeheartedly. I was talking to Karen Phelps earlier, who we're used to seeing previously in the BTRDA Gravel Championship. She's alongside Roger Holder in this Civic at the moment. It's a B11 car, Civic. I've forgotten what model. Someone help me. What model of Civic is that? Anyway, there's the Fiesta ST Plus. I'll tell you what, I know what you've done with that Fiesta ST Plus. You've given it a bigger handbrake, haven't you? That's what you've done, Daniel John. Jordan joins. Looking good from Charlie. Ignition teammate Adam there. Yeah, they were going well. Interestingly, when we logged on to the live results earlier before the rally had even started, they were showing us finishing the first stage. Not sure what happened there. The results have reset themselves. You see Jeff Glover lifting a wheel in that rear wheel drive Astra. Some bit of kit there. Big hairy diff hanging out the back of it. EG Civic. Thank you, Josh Jones. That's right. Is it? Are we sure? Yeah. But the dashboard inside those Civics is one of my ultimate rally cars just because of that Brandywell Cottage video on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, look it up. Obviously, after we've come off air with Mark Higgins behind the wheel. It's just brilliant. He's commentating as he goes around the stage. He's out of breath at points. He gets all sideways and whoa, he goes sideways and talks through the stage, talks about the tyres, gives a plug to the oil sponsors, Castrol. It's a fantastic video, one of my favourite rally videos. There's Richard Egger, Pat Egger in their 1400 Nova. The pair behind REIS Insurance back in the day. They've sold the business now, but it was Richard Egger Insurance Services, and that Nova featured on a lot of their adverts when they used to advertise in Motoring News and then Motorsport News as it became. Ian Rogers, Harry Nichols there in the little Twingo, who will no doubt please Jamie McTavish if he's joining us. Hello to John Ingram joining us on the live stream. You tuned in a little earlier, John, you'd have heard us talking to teammate John Jackson, teammate of course to Chris Ingram, Alex Kirani in the Castrol Yaris Rally 2. Another exciting talent, former European Rally champion Chris joining us in British rallying again this year. Ryan Wild in there, Clive Jones. A little less Larry through in the B9 Nova this time, but still just as quick by the looks of things. We'll have a look at the B9 leaderboard in a short while. Yeah, good time. John Ingram joining us. Chris, who is, although he won the European Rally Championship in 2019, I have to say he's probably enjoying his most, what's the word, high-profile year this year with the debut in that Yaris. And doing good things with it as well. Alex Roscoe, Stephen Roscoe in the little micro for their second run through the stage. A real success story that we're looking forward to, and indeed enjoying watching unfold that Castrol Yaris Rally 2 programme run by Melvin Evans Motorsport. John's just got back from the Etihad. He's got 3 smiley faces. Does that mean that Man City took a win today, John? I'm sure you're going to update me on that in just a minute. Chris Woodcock, Harley Woodcock, second time through the stage for the Manx pair. Congratulations to Chris as well, who, along with his partner, is expecting his first child. Very exciting to have a baby on the way. They get old very quickly. Proper cars, those Twingos. I forgot actually, yeah, that you tuned in just in time, didn't you? Chris had the Twingo, didn't he, for a while in his early days. Richard Thomas, Paul Cook in the Mark II there. Chris Butcher says, God, I wish I was doing this rally. We wish you were too. I mean, you've got 2 bites at the cherry, haven't you, really? I know that the Formula 2 Nissan Sunny is out of action at the moment, but you have also got that Super 1600 Corsa, which we're hoping to see on the Woodpecker, and could have brought out here, really, couldn't you? Think about it. Aaron Root, Stephen Hall, Nagy Foster in that beautiful TR4. Runs in the historic Rally Car Register Mini Challenge, actually, but if you squint, it works. It's a beautiful car. 2.2 will it be? H1 car, 2.3. 2-1 to Man City, John Ingram. And that is the last mention of, and the only mention of football you're getting on a rally live stream, I'm afraid. Not doing that. I left football for rallying, you should know that. Dominic Hodge, Stefan Arndt, brilliant lads, and really love their rally. It's great to see them out. And big micro enthusiasts as well. And a micro kit car is fine by me. Hello to Tim Sawyer, joining us on the stream. Josh Jones as well. Pete Fowle, good luck to all Silverton and Mid Devon Motor Club who are marshalling here. There's a nice bit of variety. You don't see many KAs, do you, out at the moment? Adrian Walk, Matt Walk, in the 1400 KA in B9. Now, I'm pretty sure it's got a Z-Tech in it, on throttle bodies, from memory. It's got a big air intake on the front. It's got the sport car bodywork, but Paul Wegley's giving me a funny look. I'm not sure why. Nope, he's not going to tell me either. Mark Butler, Paul Hode. Their second run through the stage. I did promise you, didn't I, that we would give you a little rundown. Tommy Henderson can't wait to be stage side tomorrow after his crash on Epping. Enjoying the coverage. Well, if you're anywhere near us, Tommy, we might have a chat on the live coverage. We're going to be at stage N and stage 3 and 10 tomorrow. Someone's having a mini adventure, and it's Craig King with Ian Harrop alongside. Just managed to gather that one up, didn't they? So Ben Wilkinson, Andrew Wilkinson lead the way in the B10 class at the moment. In the 1600 cars in that 106 Maxi. Jason Harris, Stuart Powell second at the moment. And I'll tell you what, it's very close. There's only 5 seconds in it, and he's on an identical time as well to Matt Wheeler. Sam Wheeler behind. Shane Gamble and Julia Perry come through to complete their second way through. Hello to John Hawkins, who's joining us. He's enjoying the coverage. He's normally giving me a rally stat workout or nerding out with me about rallies. I've done a video about G3 Gartrack Escorts with Lee Edwards' car in the service area earlier, John, which you will share my affection for, I'm sure. Glenn Thomas, Owain Thomas alongside in the little 106 rally. Very underrated 1400 rally car. Quick out of the block. Sorry, out of the block. The box. Easy for you to say, Woodford. And little 1300 cars, and they do look good, don't they, with the little square wide arches on them. Saw a Peugeot 106 XSI the other night. First time I've seen one of those in many years. They were big road rally cars, weren't they? They were everywhere until the road rally boys got their hands on them, and then they realised those little 1400 TU engines went pretty well. Harvey Stevens, Russell Joseph alongside. Russell Joseph got a late call-up to get inside that car, and Harvey had a really good t-shirt on in the service area earlier, looking nice and chilled, and he said, never underestimate a granddad driving a Mini. I thought that was quite nice. Justin Brooks, Dan Evans in 4th place, back to the leaderboard in B10 in that beautiful Nova, channeling their inner Dave Metcalf here this evening on the Hills Ford stages. There's Paul Taylor, Gemma Taylor alongside. John Hawkins is now going to have a look at G3 stats for me. No, I've done the video already, John. You're too late. I'll just know that you're going to enjoy watching my little nerd session. Car 103, Andrew O'Hanlon, Kevin Hogan. Sounds so right, doesn't it? A Mini with a straight cut gearbox. Although the championship is sewn up overall here, we do have a number of crews looking to sew things up themselves, and Ben Crump is one of those. The maximum score this weekend will see him take the B11 title, and is doing everything he needs to do at the moment, leading B11 by just a single second with Ian Beaumont alongside Alan Welsby. Zach Lyman won't challenge them for championship points, so they need to be careful to not get too distracted by that class battle here on the day, although I'm sure they will be looking for a class win here this weekend. They're looking at a maximum score in the championship, that third in that class at the moment, and only, what, 7 seconds back at the moment, Stefan Morris, Mark Hammond. And that is a car I love to see out. Little Coventry Climax derived engine in the back of that little Hillman Imp, or Sunbeam Imp as it is. Oh no, has he buzzed the engine, or is that a gearbox? Geraint Thomas, Tommy Meadows, one of the stage master crews out this weekend. Now, I'm not sure if that's just a drive shaft, you know, because the car sounded fine. It didn't sound like it had dropped out of gear, did it? There's a story behind this one and all. Normally, Hillman Imp himself, Mick Smith, John Bellows, last saw him on Rally Barbados, the Irishman with a Cockney accent, a real character. But it's a Hillman Imp, a Chrysler Sunbeam that smells more like a diesel truck, because he filled it with diesel on the way to scrutineering earlier today. And the team have spent most of the day, when they should have been chilling out in the service area, polishing and kicking the tyres, draining the fuel system, so he's going to get plenty of stick about that over the weekend from the service crew. Willie Nelson, Craig Nelson, switched to a GC8 in Betzer for the last 2 rallies. The last time we saw it was in 2019 at Mark II. Pendragon Offshore Memorial were the two. Is that a Broadie? No, it's a, yeah, I can't remember. There's Nigel Hall, Christopher Barrow. So whichever class you look at the minute, it is pretty close. B12 is the only one at the moment with not enough time to really give you a proper feel for how things are shaping up. But B13 is looking very familiar, isn't it? Darren Atkinson, Harry Stubbs back on top form. B13 champion, 3rd overall in the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. And they are leading the way there, as you see. Paul Holmes and Elizabeth Beasley, they've been busy recently as well. We saw them on Rally Ceredigion. They absolutely loved their taste of European Rally Championship rallying on the Welsh lanes at the Ceredigion last time out in the championship. That's Larry, isn't it? From Stuart Cameron and Gary Whittington. There we go. Ooh. Dancing all over the road, fighting the diff as he puts the power down. I love fighting the diff in a front-wheel drive car. I used to love my Saxo for that. You sort of grab it hold of it and try and keep it in a straight line while you're putting the power down. Something about a big power, strong, solid diff front-wheel drive rally car. So Darren Atkinson leads the way in B13. Hugh Jones behind, only 2 seconds behind as well. There's a second, I'm not sure if that is a G3 Escort or if it's just modified. I didn't get a chance to speak to Massey or Julian in service, but I will double check. It's certainly an Escort Mark III though. I think it is. He's got a red top in it as well, Vauxhall engine. Massey Piggott, Julian Monkley in the B11 Mark III Escort. Hugh James then 2 seconds behind in B13. Lee Edwards in the GA3 Escort, 4 seconds behind. It is getting very close in B13 going into day 2. But it's perhaps the overall leaderboard that has such a stark look to it. The top 5 places separated by 9 seconds. As you see Jeremy Harris and Alexander Harris back through the stage. Mark Kelly leads the way, Will Atkins alongside, and that's the biggest gap in the top 10 leaderboard, actually, isn't it? 8 seconds back to Sam Toozle, Ross Whittock, who are on an identical time overall to Roger Duck with Alan Cook in 3rd place. With Darren Atkinson and Harry Stubbs, our B13 leader, the first two-wheel drive car, in 4th. Again, on an identical time. All 3 of those cars, 3 minutes 30. And there is that ex-Dakar classic car. Okay, so John Hawkins thinks that is a genuine G3. Thank you for that. I mean, you're a latecomer, aren't you, John, on this evening's live show, but I'm glad to have you here, mate. Here we go. The rally nerdery really begins now. Neil Roskell then, Di Roberts coming here for an overall win. He's relaxed, there's no pressure, and the boss lady Dawn says he goes better under those conditions, and he's going well so far. Just a second back from that 2nd, 3rd and 4th pair. And there is that Volvo 244 I was talking about earlier, Bill Douglas, Dave Tull. It's got the radio on because they want to listen to the football on the way to the stage, so no doubt they were tuned in to that Man City match as well, like John Ingram was, before tuning into special stage, hopefully before the start of their stage. But it's got not only the radio in, it's got some pencils and pens on the shelf in front of the radio on the dashboard, and he said did the Woodpecker rally and they stayed there, they didn't come off. It's brilliant. Phil Jones, Andrew Richards, 2nd ever rally. The first was the Manx with us this year in the Pro Tyre Championship. They retired with engine failure, but still, first rally, the Manx, is a big one, isn't it? Hoping for a finish here on the Hills Ford stages. So not only that, but Bill Douglas did the 95 RSC and the 96 RSC in a similar 244 Volvo. And I've got a story about that. The 95 RAC and the 96 RAC, and I'll share it with you on his next run through the stage. But for now, back to that overall leaderboard. So what's really remarkable for me, Mark Kelly, Will Atkins, last year's winners, have got that 8-second lead, but then 2nd back to 9th in the leaderboard is split by 3 seconds. Just let that sink in. Back to 10th is 5 seconds. That is so close. Jeff Brown, Paul Vaughan in the tiger-striped Chevette. Russ Otway, one of our championship photographers, was quite taken with that livery earlier. I was a Hull City fan when I used to work for Hull City Championship Football Club a couple of years ago. We used to turn up in a Triumph Herald in full tiger-striped livery every event. Always used to make me smile. Not many things in football do, but that did. Roger Holder, Karen Phelps making a neater do of the hairpin this time around in that beautifully prepared Civic. If you are on the rally this weekend, you're going to be anywhere near the service area or the starts and finishes, I implore you to have a closer look at that Civic. It is beautifully prepared. It really is. So the top 10 goes like this. It's so close, as I've mentioned. As you see, Dave Ledbetter and Kath Woodman through in the B11 BMW 318. Mark Kelly, Will Atkins first. Sam Toozle, Ross Whittock 8 seconds behind. Roger Duck with Alan Cook. Darren Atkinson, Harry Stubbs on exactly the same time in 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Neil Roskell, Di Roberts, Steve Wood, Kenny Hull on exactly the same time as each other in 5th and 6th. It is remarkable. Will Hill, Richard Crozier, to remind you, their first time in a Rally 2 car back in 7th and just a second back on a 3:32 overall going into the overnight hole. As you see Ian Rogers, Harry Nichols through in the Twingo. And then we're on an identical time with Hugh James and Lewis Sim in 8th place. Phil Hopkins, Sam Allen, unbelievably just a second back in 9th. And then Roger Moran, Dan Petrie, 2 seconds back, rounding out the top 10 as things stand. And then you've got 3 cars on an equal time just outside. Rob Tout, Lee Edwards, James Levy, Fiesta R5, G3 Escort, Rally 2 Fiesta. And just a second back from them and on an identical time, the next 3 on the leaderboard. Mike English, Richard Weatherly, Oliver Davies. And it goes on. 17th, 18th, 19th, John Indry, Oliver Hopkins, Gordon Morrison, all on identical times going into the second day of competition here on the Hills Ford stages. Charlie Wright, Adam Westerby there, joining us for their, the 4th round that they've done, 3rd round they've done in this championship, but in Pro Tyre terms, the 4th, if you count the rally nuts, as that's a Pro Tyre BTRDA round. I count it, even if you don't. It is so close. There are so many crews in the top 20 on identical times, and even as we go into 20, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, all on identical times again. Brad Cole, Damien Cole, Daryl Morris. It goes on. We've got one heck of a battle to bring you from the stages tomorrow here at the final round of the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. That I can absolutely guarantee you, because it is so close. Apologies, I was getting so excited about how close things were in the leaderboard. I missed Laura Christmas and Laura Cooley-Stroot in that little mini of theirs. Richard Egger through their second run through the stage. We'll catch the two Lauras in their mini through the next time through the stage. I've got a bit of a story about them as well. Good to see them both out. Historic minis this round. Our Pro Tyre registered historic mini crew. That's Richard Stepney, Alan Ginn. You can just see in the distance here, after the hairpin, just before the crest, the sorry sight of the little imp, which has retired. Geraint Thomas, Tommy Meadows. Lots of support then for Richard Thomas and Paul Cook down here in the spectator area. Some cheers from the spectators, family and friends out watching in force here. So Brad Cole, Jamie Vaughan, how have they got on their first taste of Rally 2 Fiesta after that huge accident on the Manx that saw Brad breaking his arm and the car in a very sorry state? They've joined us back here at the final round. Very different car for them, a whole new challenge, and it will be a big challenge as well. They are currently 10th in class, 24th in the overall leaderboard. That is not a bad start to the day. Stephen Hall, Aggie Foster, the second and the last time. We'll see that TR4 through these first two stages this evening. Looking forward to seeing it on the lanes that have been the glory of many a road rally here in the Northern area. Tomorrow for the 10 stages making it day 2 of the rally. But when you consider that Brad Cole, Jamie Vaughan are on identical times on the first two stages going into day 2, as you see Adrian and Matt walk through in the KA again, they're on an identical time going into day 2 as a 6-time Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally champion. And with Citroën, Damien Cole, Michael Gilby alongside, that just puts it into perspective, doesn't it? If you can be level pegging with Damien Cole after day 1, even if Damien isn't fighting for the overall championship as things stand at the moment, you'd take that, wouldn't you? I think they'll be pleased with their first night in that Rally 2 Fiesta, their first 3.7 miles, 2 stages, each 1.85 miles here to start things off on the 12 stages that make up the 62 and a bit miles of the Hillsford stages, round 8, the finale to the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. Craig King, Ian Harrop then through the stage. So the B10 class sees a new leader, Alex Kirk-Willie, Sasha Herriot, overhauling Ben Wilkinson and Andrew Wilkinson, but by just 1 second. Another close fight on for B10 honours going into day 2. Fantastic time from them, taking 16 seconds out of themselves for their second run through the stage. Alex Kirk-Willie, Sasha Herriot, they will be delighted with that. That is a real fight we've got to look forward to tomorrow. Jason Harris, Stuart Powell, just 5 seconds back, and there are a few crews 4 seconds or thereabouts as well. There's Harvey Stevens, Russell Joseph for their second run through the stage. So B10 looking very close. Same with B11. Ben Crump, Ian Beaumont lead the way. It's a second back to Alan Wellsby, Zach Liner. Still waiting for Richard Thomas, Paul Cook to put their second stage time through, so we know what the B12 class will look like. As you see Paul and Gemma Taylor through in their 12.93 mini. But the first times were about 20 seconds apart. Mark Butler, Richard Thomas in V12, so we could have a bit of a battle on there. In fact, I'm sure we will. I mean, day 2, but V13 is a marvel when you look at the stage times. Darren Atkinson, Harry Stubbs, though, looking to end their championship winning season on a high. As you see, Mick Smith, John Fellows alongside in the Sunbeam TDI, it should say. Sorry, Mick. You're going to watch this back. If Jackie's watching at home, hello to you, Jackie. Hope you're okay. Shame you're not out with us this weekend. But Mick got it all wrong earlier, putting Diesel in the little Sunbeam, but he's getting it all right on the stage at the moment. Willie Nelson, Craig Nelson, their second time through the stage. A few crews left to run through this first and second stage, and then we'll wrap things up before we look forward to big fights throughout the order here on the Hills Forward Rally tomorrow. 10 stages with which to see it as well. So the overall leaderboard sees Mark Kelly, Will Atkins out in the lead by 8 seconds, but the B15 class, which takes care of second onwards on that top 10 leaderboard at the moment, is just remarkably close. Sam Toozle, Ross Whittock on a 3:30. That's their cumulative time going into the overnight halt. A second behind Neil Roskell, Di Roberts on a 3:31, as well as Steve Wood, Kenny Hull also on a 3:31. Behind them, just a second behind, Will Hill, Richard Morton Crozier, 3:32. We've got James Levy, Sean Cunniff. This is in the class, by the way, not the overall top 10 in that class. 4 seconds back. And they're 13th overall. From 7th to 13th, 4 seconds makes the difference, showing just how close it is. I can't overstate that. I'm excited about tomorrow and the stories that will unfold with things so close. Paul Holmes, Elizabeth Beasley completing, will shortly complete their 2 runs through these opening 2 stages here. Warren Martin says he loves watching this championship. There's such a variety of cars, and you're watching from the States, Warren, so that's quite a thing. Tuning in from over there, and you're one of our most regular viewers, I think. Defective Photos says Sam Toozle's doing well, P3 indeed, and do you know what, it is a close leaderboard as well. So a great fight, we're looking forward to that. Alistair Flack used to work building the G3s when he worked at Gartrack in the early 90s. I want to talk to you about that, Alistair. Put a marker, please, down for us to talk about that at some point. I do want to know more about that. I'm sure we can get some stories out of that. Building G3 Escorts at Gartrack in the early 90s. You'll like a little video I'm going to do. It's only small, just a little nugget of information. Alison Toozle loves these little minis. Reminds her of rallies gone by, sat next to her late dad. That's a lovely memory to share with us. Thank you for that. Craig Martin, has car 60 been through yet? Yeah, a while ago, I am afraid. So that is a genuine G3, we think. Massey Piggott, Julian Monkley in the G3 Escort. G3 Escort, a car that had a 2.2 litre Pinto to begin with. Had a few of the best bits of a Mark II, just at the point when the Mark II was going out and the Mark III was coming in, but the road cars were front-wheel drive, which presented a problem to Ford. So secretly, alongside the official Ford RS 1700T project, Gartrack were developing the G3, a much more simple, down-to-earth rally car, using the best bits of the Mark II, but using Gartrack's experience and knowledge to develop a car which ended up being faster on a secret test at the Boreham test track than the RS 1700D. The rest is history, although the G3 was never a works car. Billy Coleman took 4 fastest stage times on its debut on the Cork Rally. And from there on in, we got a very good view of what that car was capable of. Last few cars in the stage, entertaining us as we go into the final stages of day 1 of the Hills Forward Rally. But we're going to stay live and bring you the last of the action because, you know what, where we can. We can't always. Some of our timings don't allow us to do that, but where we can, we bring you every single crew on the entry, and we're proud of it. It's what we do. It's part of our DNA here at Special Stage. It's something our sponsors are very keen on doing as well, because they, at their hearts, Pro Tyre, our rally enthusiasts as well. Hello to Ollie Hunter, Paul Corbin, Elwyn Pritchard. Make sure you drop a comment on. Let us know what your prediction is. John Ingram says the Scousers lost. That's a throwback to the football conversation earlier, and that is the last time I will be talking about football this weekend. Thanks, John, for dragging me off onto that. To remind you, we're going to be live from about 8:30 in the morning for the first stage of the day, which will be stage 3 of the rally for the Hillsford stages. So join us for breakfast, and make sure you do, as I say, tell us where you're watching from or what you're doing. Tell us your predictions for your top 3 or who you're cheering on in what class. Because if you do and you get involved, you go and draw to win one of these Rallying is Life t-shirts. I'm still working on getting myself one. I suppose I'm chief commenter, aren't I? Because the comments all originate with me, so I suppose I should go into the draw. But producer Wayne just gave me a grin. I'm joking. Hello to Mark Skinner, the Arthur Daly of the classic car world in my neck of the woods in East Yorkshire. Knows how to turn a deal or two, does Mark? There's Bill Douglas. Promise you a story. On the 95 RS, it wasn't that Volvo 244, but it was the one he had before it. He got pulled up for having a sunroof, and he said, well, I want it on because I want to open it on the road sections. And he was told, if you take the handle off the sunroof, then you can run, because it then is to regs. And on the 96 RAC, it was when the first of the FIA seat regulations came, and he got pulled up, as you see Philip Jones and Andrew Richards through in their second ever stage rally, a bit of road rallying for the pair, you could say, over the years. And he got pulled up on the seats, and he made the argument to the FIA scrutineer that the 96 Lombard RAC, it would have been Network Q? No, and it's 97 was the first Network Q, wasn't it? 96 would have been Lombard, I think, still. Either way, he got pulled up, and he said, no, if the car is still homologated, which it was, then the seats that are in it are homologated, and the scrutineers couldn't disagree with that. Imagine doing that now with the seat rules we have, but let's not go there. Enough good news in rallying that we don't have to worry too much about the iffy bits, such as the seat and belt rules, which I do understand, by the way, but there is a conversation, I'm sure, still to be had somewhere there to find the right balance. Where's John Jackson gone? He's gone. Where's the man when you need him? Okay, so Neil Henderson's picked up on my comments about the Gartrack Escort, says that he has a note that motoring news included features on the Gartrack in issues. Look, are you trying to out-nerd me here, Neil, or what? You usually do, to be fair. 19th of the 11th, 1981, and 19th of the 1st, 1983. Can we please have wherever you are in the world, whatever you're doing, if you're tuned in, can we have a round of applause, please? A ripple of applause here in the special stage studio, please. I want to see you. A round of applause, please, Wayne. There we go. He had to do it before I'd let it go. For Neil's nerdiness. John Hawkins was on for it before then, but no, Neil wins. But it's no bad thing. Hello to Ollie Hunter. Dave Isles joining us as well. Brian Launchbury says he rarely sees his favourite car and it breaks in front of the camera. I take it he's talking about that little imp over there. Geraint Thomas, I know, gutted. Josh Jones says, keep it on the road, Dad, with a dope face. Yeah. It's okay. He wasn't doing too bad. Josh, just correct me if I'm wrong on the record there. Your dad's a road rally man, isn't he? Second ever stage rally, is that right? And Andrew Wilkinson is tuning in. Second in the B10 class at the moment in that 106 Maxi. Will probably be slightly disappointed and a little bit surprised to have been picked to that. But there's a real battle on going into those 10 stages tomorrow for he and Ben Wilkinson in that glorious little 106. And I can't wait to bring you action from that on the stages tomorrow. There's Laura Christmas and Laura Coolidge then. When Laura was doing a rally with Duncan in the Mini, called it the Christmas Mini. So I suppose today it's got to be the cool Christmas Mini, hasn't it? Yeah. Laura co-drove on Rally Ceredigion. She only had Laura Coolidge in the car once before, and that was on Clacton last year, which was when we last saw Mark Holmes in that Metro 6R4, wasn't it? Well, not last time we saw Mark Holmes, but the last time we saw him in that 6R4. They came third in class as well on Clacton, so watch out for them. in the HRCR Mini Challenge with the rest of those minis, and in the Pro Tyre B9 class this weekend. The two Lauras in that historic mini. And as the sun comes down and just casts a very golden glow, doesn't it, over this second stage of the evening. Andrew Price and Adam Jones in the Mini Rally Challenge R53 Mini. Fire that car through the gears, scrabbling for traction as they go. And that's it for day one of the Hills Ford Rally here at the final round of the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. Look at this glorious sunshine. Summer's back, maybe for one weekend only. And do you know what? So is the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. This is the finale, and you've seen how close it is. Mark Kelly, Will Atkins lead the way into day two, but everybody behind them is fighting on equal points with the driver in front or behind them. 5 seconds separating most of the top 10. It is just going to be an epic day across 10 stages tomorrow, and we will be live for the first of them. Stage 3 in the morning. Don't miss it. Join us just after 8:30. Wherever you are, whatever you're having for breakfast, we'll be there with some rally cars to accompany